Sacktown Sports 1140.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Yes, on a Thursday. Got to start it off like the man that I am guest hosting for, Allen Stiles. He is across the country right now. He's having fun. I think he said he's a student right now. We'll talk a little bit about Allen as well here as we go through the Allen Stiles Show, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. here on Sacktown Sports 1140. Jose Gonzalez with you here today. And obviously, behind the glass, as always, Kyle Ledbetter. Kyle, how you doing today, man?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. We got the boss man coming in for the first time. This is a treat.
You know, it's one of those moments where I was talking to my wife last night, and I'm like, oh, it's an opportunity for all of the guys to listen in, let me know everything I don't know how to do. It's a great opportunity for that.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, you know, it's been a year and 5 months since I've done any on-air work. I've been doing a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. So it's everybody keeps telling me it's like riding a bike. And I go, well, what if you don't know how to ride a bike? How about that?
Do you know how to ride a tricycle?
Do I know how to ride a tricycle? I think I've done it once or twice. You know, riding a bike has been one of the key things that I talk about with people, and not to get off an immediate tangent here, but growing up, I grew up with an overprotective mother, and that overprotective mother, every time I fell doing something, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, you're done. Yeah, we're not doing this again. So for me, riding a bike was always one of the things that I learned later on in life.
But you did eventually get there.
I can't confirm or deny that I did or did not get there. But, right. You know, the trails here in Sacramento make me want to be better at riding a bike.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trails out here.
As an avid bike rider, I must say, absolutely wonderful city for bike riding. Sacramento is fantastic. I say all that to say, you know what? As long as you can ride the tricycle, I will take the training wheels off, and then you can go for the first time in, what did you say, a year and 5 months?
Yeah, just about a year and 5 months, January of last year. You know, I got here in February 2024, which, by the way, I love Sacramento. I like, it's one of those cities that growing up, I came to state capital. You know, I'm from, for those, obviously, most of you don't know, I'm from Fresno, California. So being from Fresno, it was that field trip, right? Coming up here, you know, in Gold Rush time and doing a lot of that kind of stuff, state capital. And I remember back in the day, there was like this tech place here that we had a field trip up to. And so, like, I always loved Sacramento. And not to try to insult the people of Sacramento by comparing them to the people of Fresno, but that's one of the things that I've gotten is the absolute love of the main player in town. Right? Like in Fresno, you love the Fresno State Bulldogs. Like if you don't love the Fresno State Bulldogs, what's wrong with you? Kind of thing. And growing up in that environment, Pat Hill being the coach and you know, hoorah, anywhere, anytime, you know, anybody kind of thing. I get here and I go, I can feel this. Like I connected pretty quickly because the Sacramento Kings are it. Like it's obviously we love Republic. Obviously, well, you know, we could talk about those, but the reality is it's a Kings town, and I absolutely adore that.
Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, when it comes to other sports, you can have differentiating allegiances, but for the most part, if you're a Sacramentan, you are obviously a Sacramento Kings fan. So it's that one kind of uniter, like how we're sure we'll talk about the Knicks at some point today, but it's like you could be a Yankees or a Mets fan, or you could be a Jets or Giants fan, or you could be a Rangers or Islanders fan. But in basketball, it was always like, at least the Brooklyn Nets are there now, but it was always like the Knicks are the one team that everyone kind of gets around. And so that's kind of the fun thing about being a one sport town is that, or, you know, major professional sports, is that you get to you get to have your one team that everyone kind of rallies around, like it sounds like Fresno State was for you guys.
Yeah, and going into all of those things, like I've gotten an opportunity to see some really big, talented people in Fresno, right? Aaron Judge, Paul George, like Derek Carr, Devontae Adams. Like I've been fortunate enough to see some of these big-time players, but coming here, getting to experience the Golden One Center, getting to experience being a Sacramento Kings fan. I never was an NBA guy, right? And people are like, why are you in Sacktown Sports 1140? Well, the reality is I never was able to connect with any team. And now I'm sitting here and I connect with this. This is gritty. Like the fans and the team, like they match the energy within each other. Now, the only thing it doesn't match is obviously the Kings have had trouble getting to the playoffs and have had trouble having sustained success. And that's kind of where I want to go here. And by the way, make sure to always follow us on any social media platform, Sacktown Sports 1140. Again, Jose Gonzalez filling in for Allen Stiles. And going into these things, and by the way, if I'm looking to my right, I'm going to be looking at the YouTube chat here, obviously the text line 916-339-1140, and obviously we'll give you a chance to call in and criticize if you want. Hey, Jose, why are you even on the air? We can do that too.
Starting off on the right foot there. Hey, call in and tell me why I stink.
It's just like I have the voice, but maybe I don't have anything else. We'll go in through all of those. But the Kings offseason so far, I've been, obviously, I listen to every single one of our shows, Carmichael Dave, Jason Ross, and obviously the Drive Guys with Draper and with Kevin Gleason. And I kind of sit here and I go, okay, so the Kings offseason, it's been a month, Kyle. It's just been a month, but it feels like we've been inundated with so many different things happening and how quickly Monty McNair leaves, steps down, whatever you want to call it. And quickly enough, Scott Perry announced immediately, new general manager of the Sacramento Kings. Now, assistant general manager, B.J. Armstrong, gets announced. Now you're looking at Mike Woodson, gets announced as the associate head coach. And you see how quickly things have formed inside that front office. And I kind of stay in that lane of saying, is that good that they're moving so quickly, knowing that the draft is a couple of months away, knowing that we're currently in the NBA playoffs, knowing that, there was going to be that criticism of saying, hey, Scott, how did you get Scott Perry so quickly? That must have been that you were having some sort of talky conversation about it. And for me, if I'm looking at the grand scheme of things and I decide to try to rate the offseason so far, obviously no player conversation having been had yet of moving who and who might be going where and what direction the franchise might be going. We keep getting, these comments by Scott Perry of kind of leaving us in the dark, but obviously making us understand that we're retooling. We're not really going to be going out and just breaking this completely up and only having Keegan Murray, Keon Ellis, and some of these young guys and let everybody walk and go. Looking at the front office right now, I had a chance to kind of get to know Monty a little bit. Didn't know Monty much. Did not experience the effect of the Beam team. I wasn't here for that, right? I was here for the letdown in 2023, 2024 that ended up being the reason why you go and get a guy like DeMar DeRozan, and then things obviously fall apart from there. I don't know about you, Kyle, and I don't know about our listeners, but I'm feeling pretty confident right now with this front office. Like, I know that the autonomy of ownership to operations on the basketball side of things have been a question mark, but the hiring of B.J. Armstrong, for me, feels like we're finally getting that aspect of, okay, this is Scott Perry's guy. Like, Scott Perry is not going to have someone sitting in the wings. If you want to read into that, you can. But Scott Perry is going to have the guy that is working for Scott Perry, and to make sure that obviously Scott Perry gets the job done. I really like this so far of the front office offseason for the Sacramento Kings.
So to your first point about the timeline of it all, when Mike Brown was hired 3 years ago, they officially announced it on May 9th, which I'm looking at my clock right now. That is would it be tomorrow on the offseason calendar? So at this point, the last time they went through the hiring cycle, obviously they didn't have to hire a general manager, but when they went through that cycle, they didn't have a head coach at this point the last time. So I think based on that small data, I think you could say that the process has moved along quickly. Mike didn't get here until June of 2022, obviously, because the Warriors won the championship that year. But I think the fact that they knew who they were going to hire as general manager weeks before the season ended, most likely based on the timeline of how they hired Scott, and then, obviously keeping the interim coach makes it so like your infrastructure was already in place before all of that happened.
And when DC gets announced, I think earlier than we expect, Doug Christie gets announced as the head coach and they have the press conference. I know there was maybe beginning to have that sentiment of going, all right, it wasn't Scott Perry's pick. Okay, here we go again. All right, we're starting to go down that rabbit hole of what has been for some the catalyst that has really left the Kings in a really eerie place, in that middle ground. And it's going to get interesting. Now, on the other side, we're going to talk about James Harden as well, because were you entertained by Stiles and Dave going at it on Twitter? I was entertained. I was sitting there just reading back and forth.
So here's my funny experience. We can talk about it more after the break, but I put my phone down last night and woke up to it. So I got it after the quote unquote back and forth had already taken place. I just got to consume it all this morning.
Yeah, it was. So I'm consuming it as it's happening. And I find it hilarious because I obviously know these two guys very well now and talk to them almost daily. And I'm sitting there going, "Whew, okay, all right," because, some of the points Allen made, I'm not going to sit here and go, he's wrong. 20 years. What does the playoff situation look like for the Sacramento Kings? But on the flip side of that, I'm also understanding Dave and going, I don't know if I want James Harden around here. And if it is win a championship or make the playoffs, what are you choosing?
I mean, at this point, it could go either way, but I just think Dave doesn't like James Harden.
A lot of people don't like James Harden, right? Foul merchant, whatever. Like, you want to go on and talk about Shai and what he is doing, right? And we'll talk about that here in the other side as well, talking about the Denver Nuggets getting absolutely thumped by the Oklahoma City Thunder yesterday. Not only them, but also we're going to talk about the other NBA playoff game as well. So on the other side, we'll dive into the NBA playoffs that we saw last night. Two different games. One really good one and one that was over after the first quarter. We'll dive into that next. It's the Allen Stiles Show on Sacktown Sports 1140.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes. Good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
All right. The Allen Stiles Show, Sacktown Sports 1140. Jose Gonzalez filling in today. And I'm looking at my right at the TV screen here. And if I'm looking at this correctly, I have not been fully invested in this. I will tell you, I'm one of those that just waits for the white smoke and gets the announcement. I don't speculate much, but it looks like we have the first American Pope.
I think so. I have it up right now. It says it's the first American Pope, just announced a minute or two ago.
Oh, all right. It's going to be
Robert
Pope Leo the 14th. Is that what they're? We'll get through that. I'm seeing the SAC chat here inside YouTube, and I'm kind of looking at some of those things and going, okay, a lot of. All right. I was like, this is quick. They just got into the conclave yesterday, right?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it goes 3 or 4 days. Sometimes it goes a week. Sometimes it goes a day. So I guess we have. Oh, yeah, you're right. Pope Leo the 14th is the first American Pope.
Which I want to take a bow for knowing the Roman numerals. We get into the Super Bowl and we're like, what Super Bowl is this? It's 50-something, 40-something, close to 60.
It's a lot easier now, though, because it's just L and then something. Like, once you get to 50, it's way easier.
Well, yeah, that is also true. We're about to hit Super Bowl 60. Man.
Yeah. Is that the one in Santa Clara?
Levi Stadium. I don't want to break news, but it's pretty close to Sacramento. Maybe Sacktown Sports is going to be somewhere around those ballparks. Yeah.
Do I get the invite? I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. Maybe we'll have that conversation. A little bit later. And I appreciate every single one of you for joining us again. 916-339-1140 is the SAC chat there, and appreciate everybody on the YouTube chat as well. And there's so many things that we can dive into in terms of these NBA playoffs, and we can talk about injuries. And we could talk about so many different things. And before we get into the first of the two games that we're going to talk about here, Kyle, one of the things that interests me about the conversation in playoffs, and obviously I've heard so many, and I've heard Allen talk about this and why I want to bring it up, in injuries and how the Indiana Pacers, right, keep playing teams that somehow find a way to get hurt. And it's obviously – you can dive into the conspiracy theories all you want. But what I'm thinking of is, in 10 years, are we going to talk about the injuries in that series, or are we just going to talk about the Indiana Pacers winning?
I think it depends on which injuries it is, right? Because people still talk about that Derrick Rose knee exploding in the playoffs injury. What is that now? 13 years later. Mm-hmm. So I think it depends on what kind of do you remember 4 years ago when the Phoenix Suns went to the NBA Finals and they lost to the Milwaukee Bucks?
Yeah.
That year they played the Clippers without Kawhi, the Lakers without Anthony Davis, and the Nuggets without, I think it was Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. Yeah. But no one really remembers that. They just remember that Chris Paul and Devin Booker lost in the finals to Milwaukee.
It's like the Lakers winning whatever kind of championship we want to talk about in 2020. And one of the things that obviously we don't talk about in that championship is Miami was hurt going into that. Like, you had Dragic, who was playing valuable minutes and then doesn't play much in that finals. And obviously you can kind of go into some of those things, but kind of in that scheme of things, we tend to forget about the injuries unless it's a caliber of a Derrick Rose, who obviously we knew he was going to absolutely shred in that series.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it depends on the type of injury is kind of the cop-out answer in a way, right? I think everyone in a weird way has branded the Celtics championship last year as easy, or like they took the easy route because they played the Cavs without Donovan Mitchell and the Pacers without Tyrese Halliburton and someone else in the first round who was hurt. But people have kind of done that same thing to Boston. But like you said, in 10 years, I don't know if that one's going to hold up the same way the Bulls losing Derrick Rose, or the Cavs in 2015 losing Kyrie Irving to a torn ACL. I don't know if those are going to hold up the same way.
So let's dive in here to yesterday, and I'm going to give you the pick. Which one do you want to talk about first? Do you want to talk about the blowout or the 20-point comeback?
Since we've got like 4 minutes left in this segment, let's go with the Thunder, the beautiful Thunder blowing out the Nuggets.
Are you in the sphere, and in the chat, I'm interested in this too. Scott Foster returns. Do we need a graphic of Scott? It was like he makes his return since March, whatever, and he's healthy. Like, I sit in the camp of going, if you haven't reffed it over a month, are you in midseason form coming in? How do you prep after being out for so long? And obviously inside that conspiracy theory of if he likes Russell Westbrook or not.
Yeah, the series extender, Scott Foster with Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook. I don't know. I guess it's just he's been in the game so long that you're just like, hey, 4 decades, he can just turn it on as soon as he gets back, right? If this is my thought of referees, if it's a referee that we know the name of, they either must be really good at their job or really bad at their job. And I think Scott Foster, based on he's reffed like 100 NBA Finals games, is probably, even though he has a bad reputation, is probably really good at his job.
It's so interesting to me that I think in the NBA, of all professional leagues, like I'll say add in Major League Baseball to this. I don't think the NFL is much, but if you know their name more times than not, it's because people don't like them, right? Joe West, Angel Hernandez in Major League Baseball, and you talk about the NBA. So, like, that tends to be the case. And the reason I bring this up is Nikolai Jokic fouled out in the third quarter. The reality of this is that Joker was getting, as the Oklahoma put it, the Oklahoma City Thunder were swarming on defense and made it tough. Every single time he went into the lane, they swarmed around Nikolai Jokic. But every time SGA was in the lane, it felt like the calls were going in that direction.
You're claiming this was a bit of a series extender type of situation?
No. I think that we know that the NBA, when they want to, they will call things a very certain way, right? I.e., last year, it was like, what's defense? Why is defense not a thing anymore? And then the NBA came down, and I remember standing in the Golden One Center and going, man, that would have been called in December, and it is March, and it is not being called right now. So the NBA does have that leverage, and I think more than most, if you're not a Chiefs fan like yourself, everybody would say that maybe the NFL does a little bit of that.
The NFL picks and chooses their spots with it, and usually they also change the rules when there's ever some weird controversy like the Rams-Saints NFC Championship. I guess it's hard because at the same time, those things can be true, but if Jokic has 3 fouls and you're down 52-21, I don't know how much that's helping.
So that's what I was going to go on the other side. Was Jokic just going, I'm going back to the locker room. I'm done with this. I don't want to experience this anymore. I don't want to go through, Oklahoma City led by 49 points at one point in this game. How is that even real?
Oklahoma City's amazing, and Denver doesn't play defense. But more specifically,
that's also true.
Oklahoma City is amazing at basketball when they want to be. And that was what was so interesting about game one was they had that game. Oklahoma City, start to finish, had the lead. I mentioned this with Allen. If you look at the win probabilities from game one, the only time Denver had better than a 50% chance of winning was when Aaron Gordon hit the game-winning shot with 2 seconds left. OKC had them beat the whole way. They gave that game away, and this was a classic, hey, Oklahoma City is showing you why they are awesome.
Joker had a plus-minus of negative 36. Negative 36. Now, it's not a stat that I like. I usually only bring up point minuses when it makes my argument look good. But a negative 36, like, what were you doing throughout this entire time? And not only looking at that, obviously, and Thunder out-rebounded the Denver, opposite of what happened in game one. Now you're going back to Denver. I would have said, if you would have told me they're going back 1-1, I would have said Denver is in a good spot. But after last night, I don't know if I am saying that.
No, the Thunder are going to run through this series, and they probably should have from the start. This is a weird spot for them because it is 1-1, and the point differential in the series is like plus 47 in favor of the Thunder. I suspect Oklahoma City will win in 5 games because they're just excellent.
They're going to Mile High, though. You know, can you breathe? Can you take it in?
Maybe I should be putting more respect on the champs, considering that we have a running joke on the show that I think the Denver Nuggets are the 1996 Chicago Bulls until I'm being sarcastic,
okay.
But
right.
It's like I was trying to advocate, hey, Denver's really good, and then I thought they would kind of mail it in. I'm very impressed they've made it as far as they have.
I'm impressed as well, especially after firing Michael Malone right before the end of the season, and Nikolai Jokic is the essential coach right there on the sideline. We've seen too many videos of that. The Boston Celtics gave up another 20-point lead to the New York Knicks at the Garden, not the other Garden, their Garden. And now they're going back to New York. We'll talk about that one here when we come back. Jose Gonzalez filling in for Allen Stiles right here on Sacktown Sports 1140.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See full details and disclaimers.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the lake or clean out your closet?
RV wins!
Putting the dishes away or taking the RV camping?
RV wins!
Cleaning the fridge or taking a trip to the beach?
RV wins!
You might want to clean the fridge real quick because, mold.
We clean out the fridge, then take the RV out.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states and situations.
Sacramento's premier music festival, Country in the Park, is only a few weeks away with Bailey Zimmerman. Cole Wetzel. Plus Billy Currington, Nate Smith, Ernest, and more. Friday and Saturday, May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo. Don't miss pop-up stores, food trucks, line dancing, and more. Country in the Park, celebrating 25 years, May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Goldfield Trading Post, Java City, and Elemental Wine. Get tickets and more at CITPFest.com.
Maida Chevy sends you $8,000 off MSRP on new 2025 half-ton Silverado LT and RST after rebates.
Year-end savings on now with $8,000 off new Silverados at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
See dealer for details. Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emran Pilati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sacktown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
The IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship is back for another thrilling season at Monterey's iconic WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, May 9th through the 11th. Only in Monterey can you experience a high-octane mix of international drivers, cutting-edge prototypes, and GT sports cars racing wheel to wheel. There'll be gourmet food, wine, craft beers, family entertainment, and exclusive fan engagement with the drivers in the open race paddock. Buy your tickets now and experience world-class motorsports. Visit WeatherTechRaceway.com.
Tatum across midcourt with 10. Top of the key with 8. Defended by Robinson with 7. Right wing 3. Crossover. Foul line with 4. Left block. Step back. Stolen by Bridges. Bridges chucks it down court. They've done it again. They've done it again. The New York Knicks take both in Boston and a 2-0 lead headed back to the Mecca.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Jose Gonzalez, Allen Stiles Show, Sacktown Sports 1140. And, the first American Pope, Leo the 14th. We're just talking a little bit about that in the break here, and Kyle and I. 200, just north of 200, what did I say, 267, somewhere in that ballpark, of popes now forever. And we talked about, the opportunities of how many popes could America have had. But a lot of the speculation was that we were going to go back to the Italian Pope. Right, it was going to go back to the traditional sense of this, and there was a lot of speculation whether this now Pope Leo the 14th was actually even going to be considered for it. But a lot of changes. Pope Francis, when he came out to address, all white, very didn't want to wear all this stuff, didn't want to look like the normal Pope style. And he did that throughout his time as Pope. This is a little different, right? We might see a little bit of a shift. I don't think drastically, because now Pope Leo the 14th worked very closely with Pope Francis.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the Pope hierarchy to know kind of like what this means for the Catholic Church, but it is it is interesting to kind of be in this spot where before Francis, that was the first pope first pope in the Americas, North or South America.
Yep.
And now they've hit it back to back in two different popes. I don't know. Again, I don't know anything about Pope Leo the 14th, but it is just interesting that you've kind of seen a branching out in the Vatican's own little way, branching out from the tradition of the Pope. What do you call it? Palpal leadership.
Yeah. Pepple, yeah. With that, though, I also saw in the Sack Chat, you can go on YouTube, obviously, Sacktown Sports 1140. And with that, I also kind of sit here and I go, we're talking about barbershops. And the reason I do want to go there really quickly, I am going to go, we're going to talk about the Celtics going, I don't know, doing their best impression in back-to-back games of the Atlanta Falcons taking on the New England Patriots. But as we get there, I went to the same guy to get my hair cut for 22, 23 years of my life. It was always my dad and myself. We'd go together, and it was the same guy for 20-something years, so much so that I would just walk in and sit in the chair and be like, so, same as always? Same as always, man. Just a little shorter or a little longer. That was the answer, right? So when the guy decided to retire, selfishly, I don't know why he did, but when he decided to retire, I then found myself, running around going, now what do I do? I grew up in that so much that I never understood what it was. Like, give me a 6 or give me a taper or do this, all this, cut this. Now I'm having to learn that. And now I'm like, the last haircut I got, he's like, do you want a taper? I looked at him and went, my man, what is a taper? Can you just explain it to me like I'm a 4-year-old? And you know what? I probably am in this situation.
So have you had the same hairstyle for your entire life?
As the YouTube chat could see, my hair has always been, has always been this weird middle ground. Like it's so wavy that it doesn't kind of work to a lot of things. So the guy just knew how to work my hair. And so I've had to go to like 6 different barbers because they don't cut it correctly. Like it's a whole thing, but the answer, that long-winded, absolutely, I'm a creature of habit, and I just go, same exact thing. Let's just do it. Let's just roll.
I trust you. You take whatever liberties you want to make it longer or shorter or whatever. I just want the same style of,
the comb over or whatever. Like, just I'm going to go this way. I'm going to do that. I probably am going to wear a hat. You see me most days. Yeah. I'm not on the air. I'm wearing a Kings hat or a Nike hat or whatever kind of hat. And also, I am a Braves fan. So, wearing a Braves hat here and there. So let's get the reason I brought it up, you got a haircut.
Yes, I got a little trim here, trim on the sides, and keep the long hair going up top and kind of down the back. This is the first time in my life, we should say, except for like during the pandemic lockdown where no one could get a haircut. This is the first time in my life I've done the very long hair thing, but I hate it when the long hair is in my face. So we
Okay.
kind of just trim back the sides, trim back the front, and occasionally trim the back. But I'm experimenting too because I've never done the long hair before.
Okay. I'm not, my whole thing is cover my forehead. We're good. I don't want to see the hairline fully receding yet. I know what my life is going to entail looking at my father or whoever, they say it comes from here. I look at my dad and I go, all right, that's my future. I think I'm heading in that direction. I'm about to be 30 and, we can go from there.
You got time to enjoy the hair while it's there. I'm in the funny camp. I'm like 50-50. If you look at my genetic makeup, I'm like, the hair could stay, the hair could go, but I'm still young enough where we don't have to worry about it yet.
Well, I'm already worrying about it. I was looking at my buddy. I'm like, hair transplants, is that a real thing? How's that
gonna go to Turkey? What's the deal here?
You can't confirm it. Can't confirm it yet. Flights are expensive.
Gonna be one day you're gonna be a Brian Urlacher situation. We're gonna come back like, dang, Jose's got a full
set of hair. Woo! I do have a leave coming up, so maybe I come back and I look like a completely different person. Now, Boston Celtics, they lose again. Who would you blame the most? Because I kind of sat there and I debated this so much last night. I was sitting in front of my monitor. I was watching highlights. I was reading some articles. I watched the game because throughout the entire game, I never felt like the New York Knicks were out of it. Like I was watching it. I'm like, they can't get closer than 10. They're double digits the entire way. But I was like, they're there. They're hovering. They're sticking. Every time the Celtics would make a run, the Knicks would calm it just a little bit. And I'm like, all right, this is getting interesting. And then it just fell apart very, very quickly. I think I came into the studio and I looked up at the TV. I was like, it's 16-point lead. And then I went back out and I came back. It was an 8-point lead. I'm like, oh, what is happening? What is going on? And I kind of went, who would I blame? Am I blaming Jason Tatum, who just made 5 buckets out of 19 shots? Do I go after him? Do I say maybe because Porzingis is limited in minutes, he's not playing much? Maybe that's a blame. Do I say, well, Jaylen Brown, where you been, my man? How you doing? Or am I looking at it and going, how about the guy who is constantly being sarcastic in press conferences? Joe Mazzulla.
The psychopath?
Is he the one to blame?
I'm having a hard time with it because in game 1, you could point to their collapse being Jason Tatum went 0 for 7 in the fourth quarter. Jaylen Brown went 0 for 4. Between the two of them, they went 4 for 24 at the 3-point line in regulation. And it was like, okay, tough loss, but we can kind of explain it away. Bad shooting, tough break down the stretch. It's not even like the third craziest blown lead we've seen in the last 4 days.
No.
This one is unfathomable that they blew an 18-point lead in 8 minutes. That's completely... I don't have an explanation for it. The Jaylen Brown one is tough because like in any other situation, that dude would have had knee surgery back in March, and he's just grinding it through to the end of the season. So I have a hard time blaming him for some of the shortcomings when he's clearly physically limited. I don't know what to do with the rest of them.
Did the Knicks make their roster knowing, look, we got that guy in Jalen Brunson. We know that he can put us and get us back into any game. They go and get Cat, and interior-wise, I would want to see them feed him a little bit more down low, especially with whoever's guarding him seems to be about 5 inches shorter than him, and hitting fadeaway middies. Like he's just turning around from the left, from the left elbow and just poop right over. And I'm like, okay. So maybe I would want to see that a little bit more. But what I've loved watching the Knicks more is that they understand when the moment needs it, they go to the guy. Aside from that, it's a let's score by committee. This team, there's no one getting 30, 40, 50 points. It is a, game high 21, game high 20. And most of those for Jalen Brunson are coming in the fourth quarter when, he's coming down, hitting a 3, coming down and doing what he has done. Going back to Madison Square Garden, down 2-0, if you're the Boston Celtics, obviously you could have written it a lot better than this, but it feels like they're down and out.
I feel like any team that drops 2 at home to start a series, you're battling against it. And even the Nuggets last year, when they lost 2 at home to the Timberwolves, everyone was like, oh my God, the defending champs, what's happening? Even they pushed it to 7, but this Boston team, it just physically is falling apart. And they've now blown 2 15-point leads in the fourth quarter. I just don't know. I don't know what the answer is for them.
To me, it's looking at Joe Mazzulla just staring at him, right? It's like walking into the press conference as a media member and just look, not even asking him a question. Just you have a snarky remark here today. Do you have some funny thing that you want to, some quip about? Oh yeah, they made him, we didn't. Going into those things, is that because I look at Mazzulla and I go, if you're going to be that kind of guy in press conferences, you better put up or shut up, right? You better have that team ready. 2 back-to-back fourth quarter falters like the Celtics have had has to fall on the coach quite a bit, because you got to do something. We'll talk a little bit more about this on the other side as well. I'm a baseball guy. I want to talk a little bit about baseball today. We're going to talk about the San Francisco Giants. Also looking ahead here, coming up at 11, Brendan Nunez is going to be joining us. Coming up at 12:30, we have Casey Pratt joining us as well to talk a little athletics, because the New York Yankees are coming to town, or they're in town, or they're about to be, whatever you want to say it. We'll talk more about all those things when we come back. You are listening to the Allen Stiles Show on Sacktown Sports 1140.
This year, knock mom's fuzzy socks off with a digital photo frame by Aura that you have thoughtfully preloaded with lots of photos of you two. Named the best digital photo frame by Wirecutter, Aura frames come with unlimited storage, so you can share as many photos as you want right from your phone to mom's Aura frame. This is a no-brainer. It is so unique. It is so original. You cannot lose. Not only will she be grateful that it's not another sweater, she'll also love that an Aura frame means she gets to see more of you. And that's really all she wants. To feel close to you and know that you're thinking of her just as often as she thinks of you. Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day too. For a limited time, listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off plus free shipping on their best-selling Carver matte frame. That's auraframes.com, promo code ROME. Support the station by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions do apply.
Memorial Day is the unofficial beginning of summer and a time to reflect on the blessings we enjoy living in this country. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. At Naturewood's Memorial Day sale, you choose the offer. It's like 2 sales in one. Take 10% off regular prices or get 24 months of no-interest financing with payments on approved credit. Then you can choose from living rooms, sofas, sectionals, dining rooms, bedrooms, home offices, and so much more. Whether you're looking to lighten the mood in your living room, brighten up your bedroom, or tighten up your home office, you can shop and save big on the best selection of quality furniture, including Sacramento's largest selection of furniture made in the USA. Shop the area's best selection of quality furniture at Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for that water wheel.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See full details and disclaimer.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Get it with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
It's your captain speaking. To the passenger with the Mirror Fast soft shoes, smart move.
No way am I letting travel constipation ruin this trip.
Can't blame you. Mirror Fast works fast, but without the harsh side effects.
Since I'm such a smart traveler, can I move to first class?
No. Close the curtain, girl.
From the makers of Miralax, new Mirafast soft chews work naturally with your body in as little as 30 minutes to give you a comfortable go on the go. Look for Mirafast at Walmart today. Use as directed for occasional constipation. Contains magnesium hydroxide.
Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the biggest selection, the best prices, and unbeatable customer service. Check them out online, sacsuperstore.com, for the guaranteed lowest price on Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Open until 10 o'clock and right across from Hagen Oaks Golf Course. sacsuperstore.com.
Come check out Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com, and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
I'm breaking a rule that I usually have, which is I usually don't have coffee right next to me while I'm on the air, because if you're on the YouTube side, I'm Hispanic. So I talk with my hands quite a bit, and I move, and I get excited sometimes, and I just toss things. So I'm being very conscious of where my coffee is located.
You say as you move it closer to your laptop.
A little further up away from my own hand. It gets intriguing. I appreciate all the comments on the YouTube platform, and always reminding you to go check out all our articles on sacktownsports.com. And Brendan Nunez coming up here at 11 o'clock. But going right back into this about the Celtics and Joe Mazzulla. Outside of Boston, I would feel, is he one of the most unlikable non-Celtic fan coaches? Or who would you put into that stratosphere of unlikable coaches in the NBA? Because as a media member, as someone who has been in press conferences and asked questions, and, I've seen some guys get humiliated at times, and I always go, you don't need to do that. We don't need to go down that road. I get it. I get some of these guys get a little involved in these. But outside Mazzulla, I was thinking, I've been sitting around the NBA, I'm like, most NBA coaches are decently likable, or at least you're like, I don't really know them, and that's fine. I'd rather not really know the head coach. I'd rather know the players.
Yeah, and most head coaches don't give you a reason to feel one way or another about them. They're more so shepherds. I just think it's funny how crazy that guy is. Sometimes it's just Twitter clips. Sometimes it's just him talking about, watching, The Accountant 2, and he watches The Accountant every day or every other day or something like that. He's probably an insane person, which I appreciate, because so many of these coaches are CEO starched. You don't really get their personality all that much, or they're just jerks.
What about JJ Redick? Because JJ has become, there was a stretch there where Kyrie Irving was constantly looking like he wanted to be the smartest guy in a room, right? Kyrie Irving, there was a stretch there where he always wanted to over-explain things, and then he would find himself troubled in what he would say and then go, the media, it's always the media. JJ Redick has had those kind of moments with media members where it's that's he doesn't say it, but he's like, that's a dumb question. Why are you asking me that? Now, there have been times where I listen to the question and I go, yeah, he went easy on that. That was not a good question.
Yeah, JJ Redick. Well, there's the famous one where JJ Redick called out the person for saying, do you think I don't make adjustments or talk to assistant coaches?
That's one of the questions that I sit here and I go, no, that wasn't a good.
No, it wasn't. The person was kind of setting him up a little bit with the question, but the thing that I thought was tough about that is like it's a pregame presser. The only way we know that exists is if you do that or do something that goes viral. So I don't know about that. There's the coaches that are like branded as jerks that I know are like, I don't know if I really like you that much, the old Larry Browns or whatever. I don't think that type of coach exists anymore, but like Rick Carlisle is known to be a jerk.
Yes, but media-wise, they don't ever take that from him.
No.
So
I don't think that really makes them less likable. I kind of like Missoula, but at the very least, I would say...
But do you find it more humorous than you do liking him, like looking at it and go, okay, like, I get what he's doing here?
Yeah, I guess probably the latter, if you had to pin me down on it. It's
okay.
In terms of him as a coach, I don't know if I blame him for the loss yesterday, but I don't know if he's a great coach, but I know he's not a bad coach because sometimes the best thing a coach can do is just not drive the entire thing off the tracks, and he hasn't done that yet. So I feel like he's fine at this point. The Celtics probably have his back, even though I'm sure he's getting a lot of heat if they lose this series.
Now, I want to talk about the San Francisco Giants here and getting into that. Those guys have been road warriors, which, by the way, they're going to be in the town that the Warriors are playing in at the exact same time. And a lot of those guys are going to be at the game. Some of the guys confirmed already. Bob Melvin hit up Steve Kerr and was like, got tickets for your guy over here, former neighbor out here. And that gets interesting. But Giants have been road warriors. Man, that NL West is insane. It is tough. Dodgers, Padres, Giants. The Diamondbacks are just above 500, obviously. Don't talk about the Colorado Rockies. They're looking to make a different kind of history.
Sure.
But aside from that NL West, man, is the NL West making baseball fun on the West Coast right now? Because you have the Giants who have Ray, who's 5-0, who have a pretty good crop of guys. Adames has been a good leader in that clubhouse. Obviously, you know what Matt Chapman could do. Justin Verlander added in the offseason has really helped, and you saw that in spring training, what he's done with those young pitchers. I think his signing was more about what can he do with the young pitchers really than what he was going to bring on the field. I was a big guy with Bob Melvin. I thought it was a great hire. I thought it was the right hire for the San Francisco Giants. If you look at the standings, and I know you are a Padre fan, you look at the away side and you go, the Giants are the one team that are actually having a good season on the road. The other two have not. And obviously the Dodgers have been benefited from quite a bit of home games. Now I think they're going to find into that stretch of playing some really tough games. This is the most fun I think I've had watching baseball actually into May in a really long time.
Well,
and I'm a Braves fan who the Braves have sucked, by the way. So just putting it in that term.
So the lack of expectation is giving you a newfound enjoyment of baseball, not your terrible team. I mean, the Braves will be fine, but they've been bad so far. I would say NL West baseball has been fun for me for the last 6 years compared to my entire childhood. Yeah. The Padres have been good. But I will say the Giants have been, apart from that one random season in 2021, they've been a non-factor in the National League West for almost a decade now. Yeah. And I think it's fun that the Padres, who are perennially a doormat, and the Diamondbacks, who it would be like, oh, they're up and they're down and they're up and they're down for like 20 years. I think it's fun that all of them are now fielding at least somewhat competitive teams, because it's always been up, down, with the Dodgers sitting at the top. And the Dodgers are probably still going to win the division this year. And
don't speak that into existence, Kyle. You got the Padres and the Giants right there.
They're right there. The Dodgers are maybe the greatest baseball team ever assembled. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. But if the Giants and Padres and maybe Diamondbacks are all fighting for that wild card spot at the end of the season, it's going to be so much fun because they all play each other down the stretch.
It's going to be insanely fun. I a quick story. I remember going to that Giants-Dodgers series where the Giants end up not moving on, right? And so I remember going in there, and I was like, I'm going to go down the concourse. I'm going to take a quick video. I was a media member, and I'm a home run, and the concourse, which is filled, noticed that I had a media badge on and I'm recording and just around me, jumping, hopping, and I'm like, I got to get out. I'm like, try to get out of that. But I just went, you know what? I'm going to embrace this. I'm not a Giants fan, but I'm going to jump around with these guys. I'm going to have some fun. It's one of the best moments I've had with Giants. But, you know, I believe baseball is good, and baseball is in a good place when the Giants are good, the Dodgers are good, the Yankees, the Red Sox. Obviously, I'm talking about big market teams. But when they're good, the reason I say Giants in this, they're fans, as much as I might have some gripe with them, I can respect how rabid they are and how insanely in tune they are with everything.
Yeah, when they were winning championships and contending every year, you saw them sell out that ballpark for 15 years. I think they've just been kind of like, oh, we're going to turn it around. We're going to turn it around. And then you look up and a decade has gone by and they haven't really been relevant. So I think it is fun that at the very least, they're going to be relevant going into July with hope and names that you recognize.
Yeah, and quick answer here. They're asking me about Alex Verdugo. I was not a fan of the signing, but understood it. And he's had a walk-off. So he's been a helpful addition to a Braves team that is missing Ronald Acuna Jr., that was missing Strider, that was missing Sean Murphy for some time, that was missing quite a bit of the players on that team, and they're currently under in sub 500. All right. Woo! 1 hour. That's just quick in the books. Brendan Nunes joins us next, and I believe Chris Watkins might be accompanying him as well. We'll confirm that here. You're listening to the Allen Stiles Show on Sacktown Sports 1140.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Sacramento, get ready. The Sacktown Sports Live events calendar is packed with epic shows you won't want to miss. Classic rock bands, America takes the stage at Hard Rock Live Sacramento on May 9th. Then hip-hop legend LL Cool J brings the beats to Thunder Valley on May 10th. The Outlaw Music Festival rolls into Toyota Amphitheater on May 18th. And punk pioneers The Dam hit Ace of Spades on May 31st. June heats up with JJ Gray and Mofro at Ace of Spades on June 10th. Plus, country superstars Lee Brice and Walker Hayes at Ironstone Amphitheater on June 21st. Then, it's 3 days of country fun at the Country Summer Music Festival at Sonoma County Fairgrounds on June 27th through the 29th. Get your boots ready for the Folsom Pro Rodeo July 3rd through 5th. Then, catch Cody Johnson at Golden One Center on July 18th and Parker McCollum at Ironstone Amphitheater on August 16th. Mark your calendars, grab your tickets, and don't miss out. Find all the details at SacktownSports.com.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
Full details and disclaimer.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it'd go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
Full details and disclaimer.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger, Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship returns to Monterey's iconic WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, May 9th through the 11th. Enjoy the high-octane mix of international drivers, cutting-edge prototypes, and GT sports cars racing wheel to wheel. Buy your tickets now at WeatherTechRaceway.com.
Your local sports leader in the 916.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento. KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, Sacktown Sports 1140. Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
The Allen Stiles Show. Do I start the second hour going yes? No, that's only hour one, right?
No, it's only the top of the show.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was practicing it all night yesterday, just yelling yes.
Yes.
Hear you scream. Sorry, I think that was an old thing that Alan did.
It's like there could be a couple meanings to it.
Just saying. Yeah, that's also a little true there. Brendan Nunez joining us, Sacktown Sports Insider. Does a little bit for everything. And so kind of diving into a lot. Again, for those of you that don't know, there's a pope been named. An American pope has been named. First American pope taking the name of Pope Leo the 14th. And it's kind of it's crazy to think out of 200 and plus popes, we still like Pope Francis was the first. And do you pick a first, or do you pick something that has personal meaning to you? What does that personal meaning mean? All of those things that kind of go in that, but obviously the first American pope being named today. And change of the guard in the Catholic Church. We won't dive into all that because I don't know a lot of the inside stuff to that. I dive too much into sports that I don't really have too much time for everything else on that front. And again, Jose Gonzalez filling in for Allen Stiles, and we will have some fun for the next 3 hours. Brendan will be joining us for this entire hour, and so looking at the entire grand scheme of things, we talked a little NBA playoffs. We'll talk some more here with Brendan. We have talked a little bit about the Sacramento Kings. I want to hear your take on this because I opened the show today talking about how quickly the front office has pretty much formed and how quickly we went from, this is the same thing. They hired Doug Christie. This is what we've seen before. Business as usual. Ownership had a say in that, we went from that last week, quickly kind of turning and going, oh, it's hiring PJ Armstrong. That's a Scott Perry hire. That's a front office change. That really happened in a flip of a second. What do you feel about so far? BJ Armstrong, obviously Scott Perry, and how that front office is formed, obviously with still some leftover people from the previous regime still around, as I've heard from you, from Chris. I think Chris talked about it yesterday, Watkins. So what is your take a bird's eye view look at this front office currently?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Thanks for having me, by the way.
Absolutely.
And I think you're doing great today.
I appreciate it.
Been tuned in. I told you off air that may be the first time I've heard Goran Dragic's name on these airwaves. And I've only been here, 2 years working here, I guess. So, celebrity birthdays feels like maybe a moment where it got snuck in at some point. But no, I think that it's interesting seeing all the changes, obviously, that are going on here. And I had the same reaction as you to the BJ Armstrong announcement specifically. And I feel like it also caters towards Scott Perry's strengths. Everything that everybody mentions is his experience, the connections that he has around the league. BJ Armstrong has been around the NBA for 30 plus years, including being a player, an agent, where I think that very much plays into their favor here as he continues to, repair the reputation somewhat of the Sacramento Kings that I think has been repaired somewhat over the last few years, even if trended in the wrong direction for the two most recent. But Perry put out the Kings in general, and Perry had a quote on adding BJ yesterday when they made the signing official, announcing BJ Armstrong as assistant general manager. And the quote is, BJ has an elite understanding of the game and his basketball IQ, front office insight, and championship experience will be invaluable as we build towards the future, said general manager Scott Perry. He continues, he's been a trusted advisor to me and many others in the basketball world for years, and I'm confident his perspective and leadership will make a significant impact on our organization. So again, I think that we are leaning into the same strength of having good connections, the same way that Scott Perry is extremely well known for. And to your point, this feels like a Scott Perry hire. They have a podcast that they do together.
Yes.
If we need more confirmation that these guys get along, and obviously that's important because you look back at the previous regime, and when Monty McNair was hired, Wes Wilcox was also a candidate for the head general manager job.
Correct.
Yeah. And Monty gets the main job. They're like, well, we're actually still going to keep Wes. He's just going to be the lead assistant. And, there were talks about that leading to an interesting sort of dynamic between the two of them there. So like seeing this sort of continuity of guys that seem to be on the same page and really identifying a strength. I would say the identity that Scott Perry is saying that he wants to build, Doug Christie saying the same thing. It kind of starts by having a identity in your front office and in your coaching staff. And I think you're getting a strength here with these two guys together.
And you talk about the player agent aspect of this and kind of looking at the grand scheme of things is one of the troubles that anybody here in Sacramento would kick, scream, and yell about would be we have trouble signing big free agents, right? DeMar DeRozan was that guy. I think we kind of put the blinders on, like we covered our eyes and said, man, maybe the scheme might not fit, but dang it, it's DeMar DeRozan. Like, it's going to work. At the same time going, well, every time the ball touches his hand, it stops. And that wasn't Kings basketball for quite some time. Seeing that aspect of it, do you think that might be partly of what maybe Scott Perry might be thinking here is going, hey, look, I'm going to go get someone that is a player agent that has been doing it for a long time, pretty well, I might add, and that understanding of what players are looking for in a franchise, what they're wanting to sign for. You look at Rob Pelinka, right, coming in that same side with the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, if you're LeBron James, you're saying Rob Pelinka has done a good enough job because, hey, every time I say I need a center, you keep going and getting more guards or forwards, whatever else, right? We have an issue of, hey, we need forwards, we need centers. Here's another guard. There's another one in that mix. Is that something that might be thought of in this is going, okay, come free agency time, we're going to have a better shot at going at some of maybe not the top tier, maybe the mid to top tier guys that are going to give us a chance because we can speak their language. We know what they're looking for. We know what the idea behind it is. And it's obviously an actual well-oiled machine where everybody has one idea, one mindset, one goal, as opposed to potentially what was happening inside the latter front office.
I would definitely say so. BJ Armstrong was part of Wasserman's agency, which is one of the bigger ones in the NBA. And I think it's so much of this is interpersonal that I think people don't realize a lot behind the scenes, understandably so, because we don't get to see it. But having a trust, again, the Perry quote, about BJ, he's been a trusted advisor to me and many others in the basketball world for years. And that's important. When I'm having a conversation with an agent, if I'm BJ Armstrong, if I'm Scott Perry, if this guy knows me, then he's going to believe what I'm actually saying if I have the track record that backs that up. And it very much seems like these guys do. I still think that I liked hearing Perry say that, hey, this year is going to be about building an identity. And I still think that needs to be the first step in the process before you're really convincing free agents of a higher tier to probably come to Sacramento, because it's like, hey, from the agent perspective, BJ Scott, that all sounds great, but I need to see it actually developed a little bit here first, because there is a history with this organization on that may not always being the case. So I think that it's definitely encouraging. You have a good point with like Rob Pelinka, but I will say the other side of it a little bit is Nico Harrison was an agent for a little while.
And he's going out and getting all those former Nico clients potentially.
He definitely is. He definitely is here. But yeah, I don't know. Take what you want. How much ownership may have been involved in the whole Luka deal and all of that. Funnily enough, Dallas actually made, I thought, a lot of good moves until the most insane trade in NBA history. But I do think, to go back to your question, that it does definitely add a sense of trust from agents around the league that is probably one of the more undervalued and talked about things when it comes to just creating a modern NBA team.
One of my best buddies is a Dallas Maverick fan and really like decided to become a Dallas Maverick fan because of Luka Doncic, right? And I like he sends me, feels like weekly, like, like just memes and gifs and stuff like that of just hurting life.
Didn't make the transfer to the Lakers.
No.
It's one of those, like, I'm not rooting for the Lakers.
He hates the Lakers.
Yeah,
he absolutely hates the Lakers. But he has been not living any sort of good life right now. And the Dallas Mavericks as a franchise, losing season tickets, losing a lot of things, fire Nico chants constantly, kicking people out because of fire Nico chants. But Kyle put something in our rundown that intrigues me, and I want to talk to you about, and that is that Domantas Sabonis is a client, right? Of Wasserman is what I'm seeing here, and that kind of goes into some of this conversation too. How much did that maybe help the Kings in making sure that Domas, who at the press conference was very clear, saying we need a point guard. Then the memes comes out like, well, you've had one and now he's no longer here.
BJ Armstrong is a point guard.
Well, they listened. They listened. So coming back, I want to dive into that aspect of it because Domantas Sabonis could be an anchor of this franchise. I think the question has been asked, is he a guy that can lead you to a championship? I don't know. Is he a guy that can be part of a championship team? I would lean into the answer being yes, but how does the offense function around a guy like Domantas Sabonis? Obviously, it went away from what he was working on under the best in last year to this past season. So we'll talk about that connection a little bit as well. Brendan Nunez will continue joining us through the 11 o'clock hour. We'll talk more Kings as we dive into the BJ Armstrong and King front office into DC and the head coaching and where we're headed. You are listening to the Allen Stiles Show on Sacktown Sports 1140.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Comcast Business, powering possibilities. Well, the A's call-up of last year's first-round pick and fourth selection overall in the draft, Nick Kurtz, is not surprising, but his rise through the A's minor league system is pretty astounding. Kurtz has played in only 32 minor league games, but the numbers are eye-popping. A .336 average, 11 home runs, and 37 RBIs.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. It's how retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing must-visit shops. And it's how healthcare offices become data-managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Jose Gonzalez with you to 2 o'clock. Then I handed the reins over to the drive guys. Kyle Draper, Kevin Gleason, Brendan Nunez joining me throughout hour number 2. I was so used to when I did my show back in the day, and I have heard people talk about, like, I've never heard this guy on the radio. Well, it's been a year and 5 months since I've been on the radio, and secondly, I wasn't in Sacramento when I was on the radio, and no one should be going out of their way to listen to Fresno, California radio. But aside from that, appreciate all of you for taking the time to join us and get into this conversation. we're going to talk James Harden. I'm going to wait till Chris Watkins joins us, FYI. I'm intrigued to hear your guys' take on this. But I kind of want Kyle to set the table on what I commented earlier about B.J. Armstrong and his representation and kind of the connection with Domantas Sabonis.
Yeah, so obviously it's not the main connection. I think the main connection is B.J. Armstrong co-hosted a podcast with Scott Perry, and that's probably why they had the hire that they did. But yeah, B.J. Armstrong was an agent for 15 years at Wasserman. They had 11 agents there representing 55 players. If you take the agency as a whole, of their 55 players, if you had to guess which Sacramento King is their highest contract or highest salaried client right now?
It's Domantas Sabonis.
Domantas Sabonis. Yeah. Yes. The other interesting note is like at Wasserman, they only have 2 quote unquote max contract guys on their payroll, which, like, for reference, Clutch Sports has 10, CAA, which is the famous sports agency, has 9. So intrinsically, Domantas Sabonis is more valuable to the company, just in the sense that they only have 2 max NBA contract representatives. The other one is Evan Mobley, by the way, which is okay. Interesting.
Vastly different players.
Yeah, I was like, that was not the one I was expecting on it. But
they also have Klay Thompson, who obviously doesn't make as much now, but in the past was a max contract guy. But just intrinsically, Sabonis is more valuable. And Sam Amick talked about on the morning show how at the Kings' last game of the season, it was like Rich Paul was there for Clutch, and Lawrence, who is Sabonis's agent, was there. And it was like a weird, like, hey, all the power brokers are coming together to figure out what exactly is happening.
So kind of going into this, as we look at the connections that are coming together, B.J. Armstrong and Scott Perry, Domas, and diving into that with you, Brendan, here, looking at Domas as a franchise guy, obviously right now, because of what is front of mind, and by the way, in the YouTube chat, someone maybe laughed and said, hate to say this, but some Kings fans get happy over any signing. So, this is
fair.
Also, so looking at
some
that
depth, so doesn't have to be a max guy to help improve your team.
No, but when you don't go and sign a guy like Davion, I'm not going to talk about that.
Yeah, fair enough.
But good, keep going. We could just the snowball will continue to roll down. But looking at Domas, understanding he said, I want a point guard. We made the joke, right? B.J. Armstrong comes in. How much do you think Domas has a say right now, really, in what is happening inside the front office? Because, and not just front office, let me correct me, inside the franchise. Because as we know, Doug Christie was very close, is very close to Domantas Sabonis. And there was a great connection between those two guys. Domas shot the 3 kind of better this year. I think statistically insanely better. I still think there's a lot of question to that. What kind of power does Domas have inside the franchise when the reality is we've only won 1 time, and that was 2023?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I think the answer between last year and this year could be notably different. Like last year, it's no secret Domas wasn't exactly the biggest fan of Mike Brown, but I think that wording could hold a little bit more weight when you already have people in the front office or higher up that are questioning Mike Brown. It's like, all right, well, one of our best players is saying this. Now we have even more of a reason to lean into that. So you kind of wonder how much of it is necessarily of that specifically was Domas is pushing versus Domas just being the one to confirm what people above him were already thinking. And, Sam Amick came on here and talked about how maybe Domas didn't necessarily love the offense they were running towards the end of the year, even though he was a big Doug Christie guy and seemed to be pushing for Doug to get that job. Then it's like, all right, well, you're not really running these DHOs with me. And things change very quickly, I guess would be my point. And while BJ is under an agency that obviously, like Kyle just laid out, Domas is one of their bigger clients. I don't know how much to put into that, to be honest. I don't think it's much in my mind. Again, I think more than anything, it helps sort of these future conversations that could come up, rather than I think that Domas is going to be the one to make all these decisions, especially right after a front office change. Like I think that far and away that Scott Perry, BJ Armstrong, that whole staff is going to be the ones that are making the primary decisions for these first couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, as some hiccups happen, who may be making decisions further down the line here. But that doesn't mean that they're not consulting Domas in getting his opinion, but I don't think that Domas's opinion should be the end all be all, because you're still trying to figure out what the identity of this team is. And the selfless basketball is what Domas fits into, right? When Scott Perry's laying it as out his identity, but he doesn't really fit the length that he's talking about. He doesn't fit the defensive orientation. So I hear all that stuff and I'm like, all right, where does Domas fit into all this? And I think it's more of a question than anything, but I think that Perry is certainly the one that's going to be making decisions here while you still consult all the players on your roster.
Kind of turning back to BJ Armstrong, for those that maybe don't know him, what would you say is the biggest optimistic side of his now being an assistant general manager for the Sacramento Kings? And maybe one thing that maybe worries you a little bit with him becoming this, because as I looked at his resume, worked as a special assistant to Jerry Krause, right? And all the hate that Jerry got in The Last Dance, which, some of it rightful, but let's all be real, Michael Jordan led the charge on that Last Dance, and he got to control the narrative as everybody wants to kind of put it together. But Jerry was really good at drafting players, going and really signing guys. Like, he looked at talent and correctly assessed most of the talent. Jerry was a really good guy in those terminologies, transitioned to a player scout under Jim Paxson, and then obviously getting into being a player agent. So in your estimation, for those listeners and those viewers that maybe sit here and go, I don't even know who the heck BJ Armstrong, which, by the way, if you don't know BJ Armstrong, come on. But if I don't know him, what is one thing I should be optimistic about, and maybe one thing that I might get a little skeptical about with BJ Armstrong getting into this role?
Yeah, I would say the optimistic side is sort of what we were kind of already flirting around earlier, the 30 years of NBA experience, right? Especially being on that agent side, I think you could see how that could cater a little bit more to an assistant GM, because I think that the other side of your question, the more, what do you worry about, is that he hasn't been in a front office since 2005. Now, you're interacting with front office members all the time. He's been a player agent ever since, like we just talked about, but he hasn't been in a front office. And even when he wasn't an assistant GM, so the being a Perry hire is encouraging for the continuity standpoint. But the other side of it, you could be like, well, was there more experienced guys? And I don't honestly really know the answer to that, because there is this agency experience side of that as well. So I think that's where I would say it kind of goes both ways. You have great relationships around the league, you would imagine, but you haven't been in a front office since 2005, while Perry's been here a long time.
That's what I was gonna go into that. But can you then say the opposite is like, well, if I'm Scott Perry, I've been here, I've done that. I got that part. Right? Like, right. The GM aspect of this, I've done for a dang long time. I just need a guy like BJ who understands the player component, who's been closer to that aspect. Like, that would be my pushback to that potential, is like, well, I'm Scott Perry. I don't need him. I don't need to have GM or front office experience. What I need out of him is to do X, Y, and Z. So that's what intrigues me in this, is kind of looking at the grand scheme of it, of going, this front office is kind of shaping out really well. Like, is there a holdout or a holdover, pardon me, as we get closer to break here? Is there a holdover in that front office that intrigues you, that has stayed? Is there anybody right now that you're like, oh, I wasn't sure you were going to stick around, but they have? Or is there it's just kind of been like, wow, they're on the lower side of things, they're not really involved in that?
Yeah, I mean, Phil Jabor was kind of out there at some of the draft workouts. I will say I don't know that necessarily means he will be around. I feel like I remember stories previously of guys being around for these workouts, and I think we just might not be at the point where these contracts are fully up yet. So still a little TBD there.
Maybe early June.
Well, we will see. We will see. But I think that Paul Johnson, a guy that ran their Stockton team for a while and then moved up to the Sacramento level in the recent years, is somebody that's encouraging to me. I thought Stockton did a great job last year. How can you say not, with them getting a championship? But yeah, I mean, encouraging stuff there. And the one other thing I'll say real quick, BJ Armstrong, Scott Perry, both have experience, Chicago, New York, dealing with very involved owners.
Yeah. Reinsdorf is involved. I don't know if he's good involved, but he's involved.
It can go either way.
Well, it would open another can of worms. We'll talk about Doug Christie and the Sacramento Kings. What intrigues me about Doug Christie is who stayed and who is now here. Obviously, Mike Woodson now here. How big is that? We'll dive into that next. Brendan Nunes continues with us through the rest of the hour. Chris Watkins will be joining us shortly. Jose Gonzalez filling in for Allen Stiles right here on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Stay up to date on Sacramento sports. Join the Sacktown Sports 1140 newsletter. Visit sacktownsports.com.
At SMUD, we power local business with incentives on clean energy equipment, tools to manage electricity usage and save money, tailored solutions from dedicated strategic account advisors, and 50% lower rates than neighboring utilities, all while doing more for the planet with clean energy solutions, savings, reliability, personalized service, clean energy, helping local businesses thrive. That's our clean power promise. Learn more at smud.org.
Memorial Day savings explode at Maida's Elk Grove Chevy. Save $12,500 off MSRP after rebates. Every new 2025 Silverado Turbo Max in stock. And Maida Chevy has similar savings on every new Silverado. One of the largest selections of new Silverado in the Sacramento area. $12,500 off new Silverado. Exclusively at the Maida Chevy Silverado Supercenter. Now that's big. Huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Plus 21 renewal. Not available with special financing, lease, and some other offers.
The Hagen Oaks Cutting Edge Putter Fitting Studio offers you more technology, more choices, and more service. Hagen Oaks wants to be your go-to total golf game fitter. With $30,000 worth of state-of-the-art technology ready for your fitting, Hagen Oaks will help you make your best putting stroke while finding the best putter design, shape, hosel, length, and loft for your game. Schedule your fitting at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531 for more.
Sacramento's premier music festival, Country in the Park, is only a few weeks away with Bailey Zimmerman, Cole Wetzel, plus Billy Currington, Nate Smith, Ernest, and more. Friday and Saturday, May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo. Don't miss pop-up stores, food trucks, line dancing, and more. Country in the Park, celebrating 25 years, May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Goldfield Trading Post, Java City, and Elemental Wine. Get tickets and more at CITPFest.com.
The Hagen Oaks Cutting Edge Putter Fitting Studio offers you more technology, more choices, and more service. Hagen Oaks wants to be your go-to total golf game fitter. With $30,000 worth of state-of-the-art technology ready for your fitting, Hagen Oaks will help you make your best putting stroke while finding the best putter design, shape, hosel, length, and loft for your game. Schedule your fitting at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531 for more.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents it's local, but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Carmichael Dave here for my good friends at American Energy. As a native Sacramentan, I can tell you, not that you need to know, that it might be nice right now, but turn the corner and oh my God, it's so hot. Yeah, you know, summer is coming. And my friends at American Energy want to make sure you are dialed with your AC unit. So how about this? Half off tune-up right now. It's a special going on, just $24.50. Get your air conditioner tuned up, a free diagnostic. And oh, by the way, if you need a new AC unit, up to $3,500 in rebates on qualifying system installations. That's right. They've been serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. Give them a call, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990. Here's the song.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Jose Gonzalez filling in for Allen Stiles here until 2 o'clock, then handing it all over to the Drive guys. Kevin Whitey Gleason will be joining us at around 1 o'clock. Casey Pratt joining us at about 12:30. And then we get 30 minutes with these two guys in here who are graciously giving me their time as Frankie Cardicelli decides to take care of Frank Jr.
I'm feeling like we might see him at Sutter Health tomorrow.
Sources are telling me that it's almost definite that Frankie Cardicelli will be at the Yankees series.
So is this going to be baby's first game? Do you guys know
I
about
don't
that?
think he is bringing child.
Okay.
I don't think we're there.
Because this is going to be a hot day,
Yeah.
right? We're
Yeah.
getting to 90s here soon.
Is it?
Do you think you require those like baby earmuffs for baseball games? Doesn't quite get as loud, not quite in like an enclosed environment.
Yeah, it was like 10,000
Yeah, right.
fans.
It depends on what White Sox games. I think you're good. I think you're probably fine.
10,000 fans? I don't
Maybe
know.
against the Yankees.
Is Aaron Judge going to get a home run? That's the only time.
Yeah,
that
maybe the
stadium
baby
will
should
make
bring a hard hat. That's a good point. That's a really good point. If you're sitting in the outfield.
In a glove.
John,
no, he's going to mash a ball for sure. He's hitting it into the river.
Well, especially if it's going to be that warm. Like, that's what I'm intrigued, because obviously early in the season we were seeing all the
It's been
home
a little
runs
windy,
and
too.
the Cubs.
Yeah.
So I was like, whoa, okay. And now Fisher's getting his wish, right? Like what he said at the press conference.
Aaron
Like
Judge
you
just
get
needs
to
Shohei.
see guys like Aaron Judge.
You get to see
Shohei
players on the
Ohtani.
other team.
Very intimate. Very
Yeah, we're not going to talk about our players, the young guys coming through the ranks. We're going to talk about Aaron Judge.
Shout out Jacob Wilson.
4 hits yesterday.
Yeah. And on fire.
Yeah.
It's
Lawrence Butler.
A's have
Doing
been
well.
such a pleasant surprise. And I say surprise in quotes because I think a lot of people knew that they were going to be a gritty young team. But they've been pleasant to watch and to see. And obviously, like the Mariners kind of dominated the stadium yesterday in a day game. Do you guys – I think that was the last day game for a while.
No, they have 2 of the Yankee games are day games.
2 of the Yankee games. Okay.
Saturday, Sunday, I think, are day games.
And then that should be it,
I
right? Because
believe
I'm
so.
like,
yeah.
There's a
getting
random
close.
Thursday in May against the Angels.
How fun. Ooh, okay. That might be hopefully.
Yeah,
Mike
you want to
Trout's-
watch
Hopefully Mike Trout's okay by then.
company field trip, Angels A's,
Yeah.
12:30 on a Thursday.
Let's do it. Make it happen.
And now both of you have been to Sutter, right?
Several, yeah.
To several games. Now, what has been the most positive thing you guys have seen? I'm a
love that
positive
question.
guy.
I love that
I'm a
question.
positive guy. I tend to try to stay away from the negativity, especially because I can very easily do that with the A's. I'm not a big fan of what they have done in obviously in the past. What would be the most positive?
I don't think I have an answer.
I
It's
just
been
kind of want to
fun.
say like Jacob Wilson.
I haven't.
Has it
I mean,
only been
at
to
the
play?
home games, I personally feel like at the games that I've been to, Jacob Wilson. I haven't even seen Mason Miller at the games that I've been to, and
I
I've
haven't
been
either,
probably
actually.
to like 4 to 6 games.
I'm probably about the same. I would say I think Soderstrom has probably hit the
Soderstrom's
best
been
during the
great,
times
yeah.
that I've been there. Like that was more, I guess, very start of the season. Yeah, I mean, I think that when that stadium is full now. Typically, it's filled with a handful of the other team, more than a handful
I
of the
was
other
like,
team's fans. I do think it's a cool environment.
Yeah.
Like, I think the grass is a cool setting. They're definitely, don't get me wrong, it still feels pretty minor league. But I think there is something to the intimateness, even if there is a little bit of a cop-out in calling it that. There's something to that. Now, when you get to 7th inning stretch and A's fans don't know what to say at all,
Dude,
it's
that's a great
little
shout.
bit awkward.
Yeah. Because you can't say Sacramento.
They used to say Oakland.
root for. What do
They
you
used to
say?
say
You can't
Oakland.
say the A's.
Oh,
You can't athletic. Like
No.
It's just silent.
like
You've
It's
heard,
so
we heard
weird.
you
Padres
can't
super loud.
Sacramento. Like you can't root for. Boom.
The
So we're just gonna be
A's.
generic, like
You have to say the Athletics first. They made it very clear. You know,
Mm.
that the A's is the second name. They're the
I
Athletics.
like. Do you sit there and just go root for the home team? Like, do you
I
just
guess, right, I
generically
guess.
go like home team? Which
See, but this is all happening in real time,
Yeah.
and so nobody's.
This is
Nobody-
also going to
nobody's
sound
coming up with
crazy.
that.
The people,
That's a great suggestion.
the people who are listening to the song don't know that home team is what the actual song is.
Probably not either. Yeah.
well, because like I sit here and I go, I'll be very clear and very honest. I have stopped and prevented myself from going to a game until the Braves are in town. Like I
Yeah.
want to genuinely experience this as a fan because I'm going to go in there and be decked out of my Brave stuff and I'm going to be like focused
Okay.
on experiencing the entire premise of it. And then I'll do it as a media member and go in and see the kind of stuff. I think if you're in Sacramento, what you're looking at is going, Sacramento is a melting pot of different fans. Outside of being a Kings fan, I think like you talk about the NFL, I've loved the fact that there's so many different fans of teams here. Like there's a Chiefs bar I don't like. But Kyle. Yeah. I keep shouting him out for some reason. Padres, Chiefs. I don't know why I keep doing that. But I look at it and I go, at least the away fans are getting an experience of 3-4 years to go. I get to watch my favorite team. But then you look at the prices. Like, I can't imagine what the prices are to go watch the New York Yankees. Like, I think the last thing I heard, lounge seats were like $90 or something like that.
I mean, from my understanding, they've actually been pretty cheap and have been getting really cheap. I know the lawn seats they've been doing day of, they release for $25 to go sit in the lawn. That is day of seating. But I mean, I definitely think it's been much more of a road venture than anybody really caring about the A's.
So, so let's turn the conversation back to the Sacramento Kings and James Harden. I waited for you. I waited for you. And the reason I waited for you, because I have my sentiment of James Harden. And it obviously, look at his Houston Rockets days and what that has been like. And obviously Allen talked about this. Him and Dave had a back and forth with talking about that in the first hour. Had a nice back and forth on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. And obviously you see Dave is fully against it. Allen, and I mean that in the best way possible. Like, that guy knows how to kind of look at one side of things and kind of he's a good contrarian. Why are you against it, or why would you consider it? Is the nice open-ended question I want to give you guys, because personally, I'm just going to lay it on the floor and put it out there. I wouldn't consider it. But if making the playoffs is what ownership wants, regardless of what that might look like in 3 years, do you consider it?
I'm pretty much just going to say no. I think that we may all end up being on the same page here. But first off, next year, James Harden has a $36.3 million player option. Curious to see what sort of happens there. Now, if you can get some sort of short-term deal, if there's a DeMar DeRozan for James Harden sort of swap here, like, sure, that makes sense in the short term. But I think my big thing is that I don't think we should be so focused on, like, all right, just how do you make the playoffs next year? Scott Perry's coming out talking about building an identity. And to me, that sounds like the first step in the process to I feel like I get crazy sometimes with this organization, but the goal is a championship, right? Like, not to make the playoffs. And so getting a 35-year-old James Harden, 36 pretty much early in the next year, I think it helps you in the short term, but that's not something that I personally think the Kings are in a position where they need to be making short-sighted moves like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just piggyback off that and say I just think that James Harden at this point in his career isn't the kind of guy who can carry you to playoffs, even if that's what the goal is. Like, James Harden is the second best player on that team at best, like Kawhi Leonard when he's playing, and Kawhi was ridiculous the second half of the season. And let's not forget Norm Powell was incredible the first half of the season. So there's an argument to be made that James Harden is second to third most important player. Zubac also had a fantastic season. Like, it's more just if you're making a big swing like that, like, to me, it's maybe an elevated version of DeMar DeRozan. Like, DeMar got you to the play-in. Maybe James Harden on this team gets you to the first round. But, if we're playing it out, like you said, he's 36 years old. Let's say James Harden does bring you sustainable success for 3 years and you make the playoffs 3 straight years. Well, then what? Like, then James Harden's 39, 40 years old. He's no longer helping your team reach the playoffs. He's making, help me out here, he's making probably
36 going into next year.
That's much better than what I would have thought. But, he's getting paid a ton of money, and you don't have first-round draft, or you don't have, a first-round, a high first-round draft pick to help you continue to build. So, I mean, even if you get James Harden and it's the best-case scenario, to me it's 3 years, and then you're pretty much back to where you are right now, if not worse.
I think it's a great talking point. I think it's great for us to bring up James Harden, but outside of that, I look at it and I go, wouldn't it be DeMar DeRozan on steroids?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like,
I mean,
it's ball stops.
He's more of a point guard.
Yeah.
And look at the bigs that James Harden works well with. It's these low usage bigs. Now Zubac became a little bit of a different player last year. Yeah, rim runners. And when Zach LaVine gets to the team, Domantas Sabonis talks about, hey, it's an adjustment. This guy needs the ball in his hands a little bit more. James Harden's still one of the best passers in the league, but he's the extreme example of that, to your point.
So, I think it's a great conversation to have. But outside of that, I don't think there's much more to kind of dive into that James Harden aspect because of what you said. I think it's building an identity. What is the identity that the Sacramento Kings want to build? We'll talk about that next because Doug Christie gets officially, taking the interim tag off. He's the head coach of the Sacramento Kings moving forward. He's someone that obviously bleeds Sacramento through and through. But what is the identity that Doug Christie wants to embody in play style, in who they are, and how they're going to develop, and how they're going to attack? It's that I think is one of the biggest questions. We'll talk about that as well as kind of diving into the NBA playoffs. I want to ask you guys the question I asked everybody else, and it is, who is to blame for the 20-point deficit that has been now surmounted twice by the New York Knicks, heading back to the Madison Square Garden with a 2-0 lead are the New York Knicks. We'll talk about that as well because I'm very interested in hearing your guys' response. Jose Gonzalez filling in for Allen Stiles, and you can continue listening right here on Sacktown Sports 1140.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Memorial Day is the unofficial beginning of summer and a time to reflect on the blessings we enjoy living in this country. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. At Naturewood's Memorial Day sale, you choose the offer. It's like two sales in one. Take 10% off regular prices or get 24 months of no-interest financing with payments on approved credit. Then you can choose from living rooms, sofas, sectionals, dining rooms, bedrooms, home offices, and so much more. Whether you're looking to lighten the mood in your living room, brighten up your bedroom, or tighten up your home office, you can shop and save big on the best selection of quality furniture, including Sacramento's largest selection of furniture made in the USA. Shop the area's best selection of quality furniture at Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for that water wheel.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The hot weather is coming. Is your HVAC system ready for it? Let Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating make sure it is. Get to Lee'sAirPlumbingandHeating.com. Check out their $99 HVAC tune-up special. And let me tell you why Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating is the way to go. They took care of me when our heater collapsed over the winter, and Lee's set us up with a great new HVAC system that is providing comfort, value, and quality. Let Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating take care of you. License number 635355.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sacktown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting SacktownSports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Jose Gonzalez filling in for Allen Stiles. He is on location. He's in Chicago. I know that. He just posted a video about him walking around in the Windy City. Have you guys been to Chicago?
I've not.
No, I need to make my way out there.
I haven't either, but like my dad, he made a venture out to Chicago. He's like, yeah, that wind's no joke. He's like, it's not fun to kind of interact with, and so just shouting out Allen out there in Chicago and looking at all the crazy things he's going to be doing out there. He's going to have many a stories.
Am I too touristy for wanting to go for St. Patrick's Day when the river turns green?
No, that's what I've heard is definitely the time to go.
Okay.
It's like the city comes alive, and it's a great time. My friend just was telling me the other day that there's like 4-month window pretty much where you can go and not have to worry about like weather. Besides that, it's
gotcha.
Hey man, like you might try and be there for 3 days, you gonna be there for 5 to 7 days. Like,
What is your guy? What would a bucket list stadium is for you guys? That just popped in my head right now because, like, I look around, Major League Baseball, NFL. Like, NFL feels like a lot of obviously stadiums have become cookie cutter. Then you kind of get a little bit of a difference. I think in Minneapolis, that's not cookie cutter. That's very different and very cool. I want to go there. Yeah. But like you look at least Major League Baseball, a lot of different parks, a lot of different to it. NBA arenas, there's a toss up in what you're going to do. Is there anything bucket list for you guys that you're like, I have to go to this arena, stadium, place?
I would like to say the Garden, Madison Square Garden, but kind of to your point, like it does feel like, oh no, definitely not TD. To your point, it kind of feels like there's bigger venues out there. US Bank seems great in Minnesota. Maybe go with the soccer stadium, maybe like the Bernabeu, something like that. Go see Camp Nou. That might be cool to see Barcelona game.
Yeah, I think didn't the Bernabeu just have a new they just fixed the stadium?
I believe so. They just made like a massive renovation to it. Yeah,
it's going to be a World Cup venue in 2030.
Wow.
So,
okay. Yeah.
I'm like, look at that.
Makes sense. Yeah. Perfect excuse.
But for me, I would, if I'm going soccer, obviously I would say Estadio Azteca. I'm like,
sure.
I have never been there.
Yeah.
It's 100 and
what is it like?
100 and it used to be 110. Now they've dropped it. It's like 85,000 with all the renovations. Only 85,000.
Yeah.
Now
Rose Bowl is crazy like that too.
I've never been to the Rose Bowl.
You can fit a ton of people.
Parade.
Yeah, I went to
in the parade
USA Mexico game, soccer game at. It was crazy. It was absolutely nuts at the Rose Bowl.
I thought you said in the parade. I'm like,
no,
you in the band?
That's a nice two-choose for a lie. I was in the Rose Bowl
made
parade.
of roses.
So diving into the Sacramento Kings and the coaching staff, DC is now the official coach. What is in your guys' mind the identity that he wants to implement? Because I feel like the last 2.5 years, 3 years, we've seen like 3 different identities. Like in the Beam Team 2023, we saw one identity. The year I got here, 2023, 2024, we felt like that went away. It wasn't as let's shoot it, let's move the ball as quickly. And then this year, obviously, every time the ball touched DeMar DeRozan's hands, it died. You had Zach LaVine standing in the corner for a bit. Obviously, there was always injuries with De'Aaron Fox and some of these guys never being able to kind of all be healthy at the exact same time, which, by the way, I feel like we didn't talk about enough in the conversation leading up to the trade. It's like these guys didn't really have that much time playing together.
Yeah.
What do you guys think DC's identity is and what he's going to want to implement? Because obviously it's the physicality aspect and, it's the face, right? That got pictured everywhere and the salts and what he does right before the game gets going. What is the identity of the Sacramento Kings 2025, 2026? And obviously, I'm not going to hold you to it in October when we have a different conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I think the ideal identity and what you have as a vision right now could definitely change as you realize, oh, hey, this guy's available, and maybe we want to pivot to something else as they're still trying to sort of figure out what exactly that is. But as Perry said it, and Eki and Christie really echoed, it's about toughness. It's a defensive orientation. I don't know how I just combined it.
That was incredible. I was like, Eki, like, what is that coming from?
And then Christie.
I got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
But it mentioned toughness, a defensive orientation, playing hard and playing together. To me, I mean, I think you can go look at the early 2000 Kings and their offensive identity. That continuity and the free flowingness. Domas obviously having similarities to Weber, Vlade, and then defensively, exactly what you were saying, just how you imagine Doug Christie. I think that, sure, the length, athleticism, that all sounds great. Honestly, I feel like you hear that from every single person because that is what the league is nowadays. But identity-wise, I think it's more about playing tough, being the first after 50-50 balls like you saw Doug Christie be throughout his career.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I would say. I think Doug Christie, and I think it's not uncommon, but he's probably looking for a group of team of Doug Christies, right? Of people who play like Doug Christie used to play. Defensive minded, I think if you could give two traits, I think you would probably pick defensive minded and a playmaker, pretty much like Brendan said. Like, he's looking for people to play like how those early 2000s Kings played, move the ball. Of course, if you could add a third, I would say shooting, but then it starts to get into, well, yeah. So Doug Christie's looking for a guy who can pass, shoot, play defense,
6'10",
dribble the ball, be 6'10". If we could just have as many of those guys as possible, which isn't a bad strategy. I think that's kind of what they're looking for, is just people who really fit the mentality of, because I do think, especially after hearing, Doug all those years on the radio, like, I just think he really cares more so about the mentality of people than about your actual skills and traits. Like, it's the NBA, everybody's crazy talented. You could fit guys into roles if they're talented enough. I think he's more so looking for guys who have the right headspace, and I think defense and playmaking both are a very specific type of person that you have to be to dedicate yourself to sharing the ball and to the defensive end, which usually gets no glamour.
Was this previous team the least Sacramento style team?
Least Doug Christie style, for sure. I mean, it's been very Sacramento. It's actually been one of the most Sacramento identity teams we've ever seen. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, no. I mean, yeah, it was completely different than what, to your point, like what it seems like they're looking for. And to your initial question too, like, there's a question of, what does Doug want this team to be versus what this team is going to be next year also. Like, I don't know how much they can really get to their final destination before maybe getting some more hiccups in the road to get there. Because frankly, Zach LaVine, Domantas Sabonis, you can throw Malik Monk in there. None of those, DeMar DeRozan, none of those guys fit what we're talking about. I mean, all of those three guards are score first guys who don't play defense. And then Brendan already laid out why Sabonis doesn't really fit into that. Like, I think it's going to take some time, but I think eventually, maybe 2-3 years down the line. And that's why I think that, I don't want to say the writing's on the wall for a lot of those star players, but it does feel like the identity just doesn't match.
One of the things I remember, and I might be misremembering this, but Scott Perry, new general manager of the Sacramento Kings, said unity in thought. And do you think that this is something that obviously we're seeing very clearly, Doug Christie and Scott Perry, knowing that there is unity in thought of this is what we're going to do?
Diversity of thought, unity of purpose.
That's what it is. Yes. So that's the intriguing part is how are those two guys going to combine to want to put this team together? That's what intrigues me. Mike Woodson, associate head coach, he gets announced. I know some people were afraid that bringing in a guy with head coaching experience was maybe going to drown out Doug Christie's voice a bit. I feel like this might be the perfect guy to come in. Like, Indiana didn't have success there, obviously has been with the New York Knicks. I feel like this might be the guy to sit behind Doug Christie and really help him get to becoming the head coach he should be.
Yeah, I mean, I think typically when you have a head coach that's either very defensive focused or offensive on the other end, you want a lead assistant that is going to play the other side of that. And I think that that's what we're getting here. Like, Jay Triano was Mike Brown's compliment. And now you have Mike Woodson being Doug Christie's compliment here. Mike Woodson, from my understanding, known for sort of more of his spacing and the passing ball movement that's going on and more of an offensive focus during his time, and having all that head coaching experience is obviously something that Doug definitely needs on his staff, a guy that, maybe can be drawn up some sideline plays and things like that. So Doug doesn't have to do every single aspect of all this, but yeah, I mean, I think that it is interesting to see, it feels like Woodson covering up some of Christie's understandable weaknesses with a little bit less experience and being more of a defensive guy.
Chris, kind of looking and changing the question for you a little bit, Barbosa remaining on the staff, how much do you think How much do you think Barbosa staying on the staff and how this rounds out outside of Mike Woodson? Why do you keep Barbosa? What is it that he brings to the table that he should be on the staff?
Yeah, I mean, we know that it's a person Doug Christie trusts, which does seem to be a common theme here. Is as we talk about B.J. Armstrong and why he's in that position, I think a big reason why Barbosa was one of the first people announced is because he worked out with Sabonis and Doug throughout these summers, and we just know that they have a really close relationship. And obviously, Barbosa had a close relationship with Mike Brown too. Mike Brown's the one who brought him on initially to the staff because of their time in Golden State together. But I think that they've clearly grown close together. They're ex-players, both of them. And even though it's very clear that there was some division going on and people pick sides and you're a Mike Brown guy or you're just a Kings guy, it does seem like Barbosa was maybe the one that was able to kind of blur those lines the most because they seem to have that ex-player relationship. And who knows? I mean, we don't know the ins and outs of their relationship, but it seems like that's definitely a key reason why.
Was that a pun? Blur?
No, actually,
blur?
No, it didn't even cross my mind.
Good one.
Yeah, not bad.
Chris will stay with
Seamless.
us through the top of the hour. Brendan, appreciate you taking the time. Now, in 20 seconds, who do you blame for the Celtics meltdown?
Dude, okay, I still think they're gonna win the series, and don't get me wrong, there's a moment or two where you need to drive, but they're not gonna go 25 of 100 from 3.
Can Jason Tatum stop taking setback threes?
Okay,
please,
yeah,
brother.
he's being a little crazy. Don't get me wrong, but it's a great case test for a team that's just like, hey, we're living and dying by the 3, and they died in the first 2 games.
Don't blame Joe Mads.
All right, we'll take you to the top of the hour. We'll continue when we come back. Allen Stiles Show on Sacktown Sports 1140.
David is a real Prevagen user, and this is his story.
Nice to meet you. My name is David. I've been a pharmacist for 44 years, and I'm from Flowery Branch, Georgia.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
Full details and disclaimer.
Have you ever dreamed of shopping for the perfect jewelry from home? Well, now it's possible, and you can even build your credit. PrestigiOJewelers.com now offers online shopping, making us the premium credit jeweler nationwide. With an exceptional selection of fine jewelry, from engagement rings and gold chains to sparkling diamond earrings and much more. With over 30 years of experience, Prestigio guarantees you'll find exactly what you're looking for. It's fast and easy. Once approved, you'll receive a guaranteed credit line from $400 to $10,000. All you need is to be 18 years or older, have a valid form of ID, be employed for a minimum of 6 months, and a bank account for automatic payments. PrestigiOJewelers.com is the perfect way to establish or reestablish your credit, with interest rates at only 2.25% per month. We are here to help you with monthly reporting to all major credit bureaus. The perfect jewelry, the perfect price, helping you build perfect credit. Visit us online at PrestigiOJewelers.com or at one of our locations in Sacramento, Stockton, Merced, and Fresno. Enter code SACTOWNSPORTS at checkout to save 10%.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is. Live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sacktown Sports 1140.
KHD HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Hammer time thrown down by the league.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports 1140. Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Jose Gonzalez filling in for Allen Stiles today and having some fun through a couple of hours already here on a beautiful Thursday. Now afternoon, it's currently 77 degrees. It's nice, it's beautiful, it's sunny. 92, and 92, and then we drop into the 70s this weekend. So that should be.
How's the Sacramento weather been treating you?
It's 10 times better to me than Fresno. I'm heading back to
Less
Fresno.
Dry here.
You get a nice wind. Like you get a breeze. Like sometimes I walk out and I'm like, it's supposed to be 90. Why does the wind look like it's hitting 15
Especially
miles per hour?
Week. Yeah, it's been crazy.
But I'm going back to Fresno. 98 degrees this weekend in Fresno. So and the heat sits. It just sits on you. Like at night you're like, oh, it's 75. No, it's not. It doesn't feel good. And everybody's it's dry heat. I don't care about the dry heat. Chris Watkins continues with us to about 12:30, and then we go to Casey Pratt. And just again, reminding you guys, make sure to always visit our website, sacktownsports.com. Make sure that you are also checking out our YouTube page, Instagram page, and all the things that go with it. We keep you as updated gets as well. And for those of you that don't know, we have a new pope. Yeah, well, those of you that are in the Catholic religion have a pope. But,
the world has a pope.
That's right.
Let me be clear on that one. But the first American pope as well, and Leo the 14th. Just for some of you that don't know on that, and apparently he is a dual citizen, U.S. and Peruvian. So
heard he's from Chicago, which is
from
cool. I heard he
Chicago.
graduated from Villanova. So with the Knicks' success, shout out Villanova. I guess getting tons of wins these days.
Yeah, I was about to make a bad joke, so I'll go.
I don't think Allen's a fan of Villanova either. I think that's a Temple rival.
I believe. Yeah, I believe that.
I think we were talking.
That's why he doesn't like the Knicks.
Can't wait to Monday. You better hear his thoughts about the new pope. Stay tuned. That's a tease for you.
Oh my goodness! So with that. Just also wanted to remind every single one of you as well, coming up the drive guys at 2:00. And with that, I put Brendan on the spot there at the end and just kind of said, 20 seconds, tell me about the Boston Celtics demise. But here we have a chance to kind of extend that conversation. I was talking about Joe Mazzulla and what I may be considering in his blame on that side of things. 2 games in a row that you give 20-point leads up. Now, if you're the Knicks, could you get a little too confident where you're like, yeah, well, okay, we can be down 20.
Especially 2
That's
at
fine.
home now,
Or do you look at it and go, if you're the Celtics, you go, look, if we just can close out a game, we're 2-0. Right? Like, we got to win 4. So who do you blame the most? Because I look at Jason Tatum went 5 of 19, if I remember this correctly. Yesterday we're talking during the break about that final play and what he's looked like. Obviously, they haven't had a healthy Porzingis. He's been limited in minutes. How that team has looked. Who would Chris Watkins place blame if you are in Boston media right now yelling about this team being down 2-0?
I tend to blame the players more than I blame the coaching. Joe Mazzulla also coached them well enough to get up 20. You could argue the same for the players. They played well enough to get you up 20. But I think at some point it's like, what does the coach have to say to tell you to play defense, to stop, granted, maybe you could argue it is in their scheme. Maybe, obviously Boston historically takes an insane amount of threes. Like, obviously that is Joe Mazzulla directly telling them that we want to weaponize that. But I think at some point, like, you have Drew Holiday out there, you have Al Horford out there. I don't think actually Al was playing a ton yesterday because Porzingis was playing, but the bigger point is you have veterans, you have guys. I mean, forget those older guys. Like, you have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, who both won NBA championships last year. They should know how to settle the storm. That is supposed to be what championship pedigree is that you've learned, oh, we've been through all this. We know we now have the resolve to get through something like this and not have something like this. This should be happening for us, not against us, right? If you're the NBA champions, especially the former defending ones, you should be the one giving or getting 20-point comebacks, not giving them up at home. So I blame the players more so than the coaching. Obviously, the coaching, can change. You can make adjustments and things like that. But I think when you're losing by 20 points at some point, it's like, you got to stop the guy in front of you, right? Like, and I will say there were a couple times where I was like, Jalen Brunson, I know Drew Holiday, one of the best perimeter defenders, but can we get some size on him? Like, you have Jaylen Brown, you have Jason Tatum, both incredibly athletic, incredibly long. Jalen Brunson's barely 6 feet tall. Like, can you, like, that's maybe where I start to point at Missoula a little bit, but I just in general blame the players more.
One of the interesting aspects of this is, like, you look at the Knicks and you go, they're spreading this out pretty well. Like, you have not had, like, Jalen Brunson has obviously finished games excellently well. And you look at the point, Bridges, 14 points, Cat, 21, Brunson, 17, Josh Hart led with 23. So you look at it, you go, okay, they're spreading the wealth really well. And on the Boston Celtics side, you just had Jason Tatum play 42 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, he's playing a brunt of this. They're in a tight 3-man rotation, which obviously always happens once you get to the NBA playoffs. But I look at Jason Tatum and I go, my man, we're coming off of 2024 Olympics.
Yeah.
Where you don't play, right? Yeah. And a lot was made out of, well, he's not, he's a star. He's not a star. He deserves to be in it. He doesn't deserve to be in it. You're proving the haters right in this series. Like you're looking at this and going,
a lot of missed open threes.
You're not taking the right opportunities. Like, you're not going, hey, Steph Curry's right. Like Kevin Durant, LeBron James going, hey, Steph, go and make this three. Like, obviously that in the Olympics and Steph being able to bail out the USA. But if you're Jason Tatum, wasn't this supposed to be your revenge playoffs?
Yeah. Like, I mean, you didn't win MVP last year either. Got something to prove,
also,
right?
Yeah, also on that front. So, like, I just not a fan of Missoula's press conferences is why I have a little bit of a,
I love me a psycho. I love me a good psycho. Controlled. He's a coach. I don't like psychos out in the wild, but I like my coaches a little crazy, a little screw loose.
He said, let me correct the audio really quick.
I don't just casually condone for psychotic behavior,
but looking at that, and Kyle said the exact same thing earlier, by the way, but looking at that, I sit here and I go, I'm blaming Jason Tatum, not because of, like, I can blame him because of his play, yes, but he's supposed to be the one showing the leadership.
100%.
Like, he should be the one nailing this down. We need a bucket. I'm going to make the right play. I'm going to make the right move. And let's talk about that final kind of sequences.
Yeah.
Like, there was a moment where I go, okay, he's going to shoot this. He's kind of open. He has the moment, and then he doesn't. And I'm like, earlier in that game, you're probably shooting that, and then bad pass, Nick steal, game over, ball game. What was your take on that final stretch there where the Celtics, all they needed to do was nail it down, and they just couldn't shut the door?
I mean, they were ice cold. I think it was Kevin Harlan on the broadcast yesterday, and Reggie Miller pointed out that none of the Celtics had any rhythm. Like, as the Knicks were on, I think it was a 21-2 run. Obviously, like the Celtics had only scored 2 points in the last, I think it was like 6 minutes. Yeah, it was an incredible amount of like game time that they hadn't scored a point. And so, it's just not, you could argue that it's a domino effect. Like, you're not setting yourself up, 3 minutes ago, setting yourself up for now, like trying to get easier shots. Why are they taking step backs when they're still up 8? Those kind of things. And I mean, it just feels like, like he just didn't he didn't seize the moment. Like, and the more and more I think about Jason Tatum and his legacy, and it is a really it feels like it's perfect for sports radio because he won a championship, but he didn't win the finals MVP. He is a superstar, but he's really not. Like, as we talk about, the great debate of who's going to be the one to take the mantle from LeBron and Steph, like, it probably should be Jason Tatum. That's most obvious, but it feels like guys like Anthony Edwards, John Morant's had his hat thrown his name into the hat of that conversation. Like, it just, to me, feels like Jason Tatum, for whatever reason, isn't him. Like, if to keep it frank, like, it feels like he's missing that right? Like, we talk about, Kobe Bryant you could talk about his legacy. You could talk about whether it's overinflated, whether he's actually underrated, whatever it is. And, there's the stat of he's actually not that great in clutch situations, but he always wanted the moment. He demanded the moment. I would say Kobe maximized the most out of his potential. And I use Kobe because Jason Tatum frames his entire life around Kobe. It doesn't feel like – it feels like he's doing an imitation. It doesn't feel like – and maybe this is classic sports talk radio – it doesn't feel like he just has it in him to capitalize on those moments. He doesn't have – again, he's not him. He doesn't have that aura that really feels like this is a guy that we should be recognizing is special.
Going back to, I believe the Netflix thing was starting five.
Yeah.
And seeing and going, okay, like you can see this guy wants it.
Yeah.
He has a work ethic, and no one ever talks about that aspect of it for him. But I go here. You work that's what you play for. You play to be in these moments and I get making the right play should always be top of mind. Making the right play for the team's success should always come first. Obviously, we're talking about Kobe. Sometimes to his detriment, he's like, I'm going to have it.
But he was like,
regardless of what it is,
yeah.
I'm him. Like, to your point.
Yeah.
With Jason Tatum, I feel like if it ends up in his hands, he'll take the shot. But really, he's looking at who can I give this to to nail this.
Yeah. Again, like I think a step back jumper is a passive shot. Like that is telling me I don't think I can take you to the hole. I don't think I have a move that I just know I can overpower you or overwill you, or I just know that this is my spot. Like him taking a step back jumper in those situations kind of tells me that he's just like, I know I can shoot, and like there's a chance this thing goes in, and that's what I'm going to live off of. Not I am a bigger, stronger, better, more athletic player than you. I know I can take you. It just doesn't feel like those moments exist for Jason Tatum. Not that I've seen.
No, if you're a top 5 guy, top 5 player, you're going to demonstrate that down the stretch. You're going to bring your will. At that exact same time, we look across and we talk about a guy like Jalen Brunson, where you're like, can you make a switch?
Undeniable.
Can you put someone else on? He just does it.
He's him.
He gets it done.
Yeah.
And you talk about the Dallas Mavericks and every wrong move they have made.
Ooh,
Holy moly.
Yeah, those in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, especially here in Sacramento, watching Tyrese and Davion and Buddy cooking the playoffs. But you look at Dallas and you're like, I mean, that's a different level of bag fumbling.
Oh, you could have had you could have had Jalen Brunson and Luka Doncic on the same team, and then you
keep Porzingis on there too.
Porzingis, and then you go into what you just said and you go, well, you could have had De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton on the same team.
Yeah,
you can't play together, right?
Oops,
got to figure it out. But with that, let's dive into the Golden State Warriors a little bit here and their series against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Looking at them. Steph Curry out. Like that. You see Jimmy Butler, like if you saw that video of him on the sideline, like looking down, and Steve Kerr comes over and just like, it's all right.
Yeah.
Like, you're good. You're fine. And he's like he's gone. Like he exhaustion to that max point, in which, by the way, talks about being him. Like that dude, even to that point, was still helping carrying that team. Golden State Warriors, Minnesota Timberwolves. As you look at that, this is the moment for Ant, right?
Has to be, yeah. I mean, it looks like it looks like it's potentially lined up for this is like the Ant season, right? Like this is maybe obviously still has to get through potentially OKC. Maybe I'll still give Denver a little bit of a chance, but to me it feels like we're lining up for Anthony Edwards to really, stake his claim in this league, like 2 straight Western Conference Finals appearances, he didn't make it last year, almost made it last year. I think that they definitely have a great chance to kind of, as Ant has kind of been mocked to Michael Jordan, like he's got a little bit of a chance here really, really early in his career to get a finals appearance. And who knows, you just got to make it. We see Boston looks like they're struggling. I don't think Indiana's a huge threat to Anthony Edwards in the T-Wolves. And who knows if it's the Knicks too, like we'll see.
We talked about who is him, and Ant went into that Olympic roster, and everybody walked in and was like, I'm him. It's like, I don't care, give me the ball over everybody.
Told LeBron James to tell Barack Obama, tell this man I'm the truth.
And so we talk about Jason Tatum and Anthony Edwards. We'll dive into that a little bit more with Golden State as well. Let's talk a little Sac State.
I got a question.
Chris has something that he wants to come up with, so we'll talk a lot more. Chris keeps with us here until 12:30. Then Casey Pratt. You are listening to the Allen Stiles Show on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
Full details and disclaimer.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number Everything Smart Bed sale. Every smart bed and base are on sale during our Memorial Day event. Up to 50% off, plus free home delivery. Limited time. Exclusively to Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Jose Gonzalez filling in for Allen Stiles here until 2 o'clock. Then we hand it over to the Drive guys who will take it all the way to 6 o'clock on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. Nice sunny outside, a little bit of a wind. It's the days that when you sit in here for 4 hours, you're like, I'm a little jealous.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful day.
This little window here that you can peek out and maybe,
If I get up.
Yeah.
If I get up, I can go peek
you're
over
explaining my entire life.
Yeah.
I sit in a windowless room for 6.5 hours every day.
Kyle looks at a window through another window. Like you are 2 windows away from
It's
outside.
technically 3 because that one's
That's
double
true.
pane.
Yeah, and I think this one is too.
So I have to look through 4 windows to see the light for 6.5 hours a day.
It's the life
There's a
we
metaphor
live.
in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's the life we live in order to be in radio. Yeah, it's
a glamorous life.
It's a beautiful life. It's a great life.
I am surely just swimming in all of the amazing accomplishments of my life.
I thought you were going to say in all the dough.
No.
Which, that's a different conversation, different
I
time.
can't say that in front of my boss.
Well,
it might be the perfect moment to say that in front of your boss. With that, someone in the chat, actually Manny in the chat, always shout out Manny, always in here and chatting with us. He says Ant over Tatum. Ant, Tatum.
There's for sure a
signed that
conversation.
way.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Maybe that's a
Yeah.
who is him conversation, but
Right.
talent-wise, a different conversation.
Yeah, I think it's tough. I think it's I mean, you could also argue it's just like pick your favorite ice cream on that one. Like it's the different styles. They're both. I mean, yeah, you're arguing like the 7th best player versus like the 5th best player. At that point, it gets pretty nitpicky.
Yeah, that is pretty nitpicky. And then someone else in the chat said, is Tatum this generation's Tim Duncan? And I think that was directed at you.
Yeah, that was definitely directed at me, and he could not be more opposite. Besides their stoicness, I will say Jason Tatum is as boring as Tim Duncan.
He also adds, but healthier.
No. Shout out Jason Tatum actually has stayed relatively healthy throughout his career, but no, I will not concede any sort of.
Tim Duncan won 2 MVPs.
Yeah. Did he? It feels like he should have won more.
Yeah. Like Tim Duncan is
disrespectful.
one of the 10 best players ever.
So disrespectful.
I like it. I like Tim Duncan. I love that San Antonio Spurs. As someone that maybe was just not as into NBA, like the NBA in that time frame, those guys were like Manu and Tony Parker. Like Manu made me like basketball a little bit, like the way, the Euro and what he did with that. Like, I'm not very athletic when I'm on the court. I'm
it's
not
very practical basketball.
Exactly.
For sure,
Sometimes I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna do this and emulate. I'm not Kyle Ledbetter
right.
good.
Yeah, you
at
can't just
pickup
rise
games.
above
No, I was out there yesterday.
Really?
Had a
The weather's
couple good
good.
runs.
We're out.
You Roosevelt?
Yeah.
Oh,
Or at 10th and P.
dangerous.
Yeah.
See, I've thought
More
about
so dangerous in terms of like that's where real The real ballers.
Real hoopers. I was running the court over there. You know?
Never mind. I'm out. I was about to say, you should invite. I'm out.
Roosevelt.
I get hurt just walking up the stairs here in the building. I'm not gonna be going out there and hitting real bodies out there.
No, they get runs at Roosevelt Park downtown for sure.
And so,
especially at lunch, like this time right now is like peak Roosevelt Park run. Sorry, Kyle. I know you're missing your runs right now.
Here I am, just in a windowless room.
Meanwhile,
when I could be out there, just
in beautiful 77
state
degree
workers,
weather,
just taking down state workers at their lunch.
I could
bunch
be
of
up,
guys in suits.
I could be up there hitting 30-foot threes, and instead I'm in a windowless room for 7 hours. This is hour 5, just for people keeping track at home.
Oh my goodness. With that being said, Golden State and Minnesota. That series really intrigues me because as you look at the other one in the Western Conference, you go, well, OKC obviously just dominated the heck out of Denver. And I said it earlier. I'm like, if you would have told me going back to Denver, this series would be tied 1-1, I would feel confident for the Denver Nuggets.
Right.
But the reality is I feel quite the opposite going, oh, okay, he just got, destroyed on the road. It looks like OKC is going to be the team coming out of that series.
Yeah.
Expecting it to happen. Now, if Joker decides to not foul out in the third quarter, maybe
they talk about that elevation a lot.
It affects some people. Aside from that, no Steph Curry for the Golden State Warriors. Can Jimmy Butler will this team in this series? Can he help them at least weather the storm as Steph Curry comes back? Because one of the crazy things that I saw in the Shams tweet was like, no timetable because it's his first injury of this nature. And I'm like, well, there's still technically a timetable. Like usually it's 7 to 10 days depending on what kind of strain, how bad the strain is. But aside from that,
that's interesting.
When he says that, I go, is that them leaving it out there to make his grand return right after this game? It's like, he's healthy, he's fine, let's go. Can Jimmy Butler be that guy? Pods, who needs to be the biggest one to step up in this series? Like Draymond Green going to randomly show up? Like, what is happening for Golden State?
I hate to say it, but it's Buddy Hield continuing to go crazy. Like that's their chance. Like Jimmy can definitely keep them up to an extent, but the problem and the fear I think with Golden State this entire playoff series has been, and it was exposed a little bit in the Rocket series. If Jimmy and Steph aren't getting you 60 points combined, like where are the rest of the points coming from? And they've gotten fortunate, lucky, opportunistic, whatever you want to call it. Like Buddy has definitely been there with some 20, and I think he had a 30-point game. Like I think Pods has had a game or two where he's been effective. Moody has had a game where he made some impact scoring wise, and I think that's their best hope, but I don't know if they have the scoring punch. They're going to have to be a completely different team. They have to lean into the defense, and to Buddy's credit, he's been great, or really solid defensively so far for Golden State this entire playoffs. That has to continue. I think that's really the only way that Golden State can continue to compete in this series is just by making it a bloodbath. I'm talking, early 2000s, late 90s NBA type first one to 92 wins type games.
What intrigues me about their rotation is like I said it earlier, and I was like, usually playoff teams keep a tight 3-4 man rotation. As I was looking and preparing, one of the things I noticed was that there were 7 guys that came off the bench for the Warriors in the win. Yeah. Does that benefit them? Knowing that, hey, at least there's the bench has been playing minutes, and it's not been these 3 only guys that have been going out and getting some game time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a benefit in terms of it shows Steve Kerr has some trust in them, but I don't know if I would feel great about Pat Spencer determining my playoff health. Like, I don't know if they really want to rely on some of those lesser guys. The reason why you typically cut the bench is just because you don't like those guys are such random variables, and you can't have random in a playoff series. You need to try and have as precise of an outcome as you can. And I just feel like that's a dangerous game to play, but it for sure can definitely be something that Minnesota's just not planning for.
And before we hit the break, Sac State. What do you want to ask?
I am curious your thoughts as a someone who was really entrenched in Fresno State. I feel like, and my question that I've been workshopping for these past couple months is, what is the benefit in what I see Sac State potentially just being Fresno State? Like, I think we're talking about Sac State here growing exponentially for sure, but we're talking if they have Derek and David Carr, 2 number 1 picks in the end, or 2 first, Derek Carr barely a second round pick. You have Paul George, you have Aaron Judge. To me, if Sac State gets to that level, that's like a massive, massive win. I don't know how, I don't want to say beneficial, but like, I just don't know what, if that's really the result that, if you were to tell Sac State right now that that's about as good as it gets, is that what they're aiming for? It's more just, I don't really understand where they're trying to go. Are they trying to be a top 25 team? And I'm just more so curious your perspective as someone who is so entrenched in that kind of market. Like, and I know Fresno State like runs Fresno in terms of content, but I don't know if, you know, we talk about how Sacramento's a one trick pony town and all that stuff, but I don't know how much of an appetite there will be for a team that might have a couple years of really crazy success or really great athletes, but not really, you know, Fresno State is, you know, 500 some years. And I don't know how beneficial that will be to Sacramento.
You talk about guys like a Pat Hill, a guy like Jeff Tedford, legendary dudes that have really gone through Fresno State and really held on the football side of things. Jerry Tarkanian on the basketball side of things, what he did with that program. Obviously, Margie Wright in softball, kind of how they've elevated a lot of things. Batesville winning a national championship as well for Fresno State baseball. I look at it in the grand scheme of things. I go, and I literally just talked to Jason Ross about this as well, which was, I think I sat here and I said, if Sac State goes independent, which I think is what they should do, they should not go into the Mountain West. They should not go into the Pac-12, because you're opening a line to say, we play the likes of Oregon constantly. Washington, and I'm talking about the Big Ten teams, not Oregon State and Washington State. You can play UCLA, USC, because they are going to need West Coast games in order to not have to travel drastically, right? All the way to Michigan and Ohio and Rutgers in New York and going to play those games. That, I think, is going to be the biggest beneficial factor for them on the football landscape of things. You have to upgrade facilities ASAP, because that's what's dragging Fresno State backwards, right? Fresno State as a football power can consistently be winning, but Fresno State is what they wish Fresno State, Boise State is what Fresno State wishes they could be. Right. And they should have been, because they were the ones who had the funds. Right. At the same time, I think Sac State can aim higher than Fresno State. Interesting. And I've said this privately to some people in Fresno, and Kyle's giving me the eye to take the break here. But I've said this to people in Fresno. You need to worry, because if Sac State gets this right, they will leapfrog you, because Sacramento is a better place to. Look, I love Fresno, and I will always be a Fresno kid. I will always think about being back in Fresno. But Sacramento is a better place to be if you're an athlete.
You're a college kid too. Perhaps,
So that, I think, is on the grand scheme of things. I'll keep a little bit. I'll answer more on the other side, so Kyle can stop yelling at me.
It's a bold strategy, Kyle. Bold strategy.
So we'll talk with Casey Pratt as well coming up next, but I'll answer that even with Casey. Casey knows that. Appreciate it, Chris, as always.
Thank you for helping me get closer to the answer.
No, absolutely. We'll continue next. Jose Gonzalez filling in for Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports 1140.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See for full details and disclaimer.
Progressive knows when you're on your boat, you're already on vacation. And Vacation You forgets all your worries. Vacation You doesn't even keep track of time and knows that time is a meaningless construct designed to control us, man. But regular you knows you don't want to be too far out in the water after the sun goes down, because Vacation You doesn't know how to navigate in the dark yet. Vacation you and regular you really need to get on the same page. So bundle your boat with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Hagen Oaks wants to be your go-to total golf game fitter. Try the TrackMan experience, the very best technology to fit your metalwoods and irons. The new cutting-edge putter fitting studio with its $30,000 worth of technology is ready for your fitting. Hagen Oaks will help you find the best putter for your game. Hagen Oaks offers more technology, more choices, and more service. Schedule your fitting at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio by calling 916-808-2531, 808-2531 for more.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Sacramento, get ready. The Sacktown Sports Live events calendar is packed with epic shows you won't want to miss. Classic rock bands, America takes the stage at Hard Rock Live Sacramento on May 9th. Then hip-hop legend LL Cool J brings the beats to Thunder Valley on May 10th. The Outlaw Music Festival rolls into Toyota Amphitheater on May 18th. And punk pioneers The Dam hit Ace of Spades on May 31st. June heats up with JJ Gray and Mofro at Ace of Spades on June 10th. Plus, country superstars Lee Brice and Walker Hayes at Ironstone Amphitheater on June 21st. Then it's 3 days of country fun at the Country Summer Music Festival at Sonoma County Fairgrounds on June 27th through the 29th. Get your boots ready for the Folsom Pro Rodeo July 3rd through 5th. Then catch Cody Johnson at Golden One Center on July 18th and Parker McCollum at Ironstone Amphitheater on August 16th. Mark your calendars, grab your tickets, and don't miss out. Find all the details at SacktownSports.com.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereeth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
It's your captain speaking. To the passenger with the Mirror Fast soft shoes, smart move.
No way am I letting travel constipation ruin this trip.
Can't blame you. Mirror Fast works fast, but without the harsh side effects.
Since I'm such a smart traveler, can I move to first class?
No. Close the curtain, girl.
From the makers of Miralax, new Mirafast soft chews work naturally with your body in as little as 30 minutes to give you a comfortable go on the go. Look for Mirafast at Walmart today. Use as directed for occasional constipation. Contains magnesium hydroxide.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Jose Gonzalez filling in for Allen Stiles. And I feel like we've gone through a good chunk here, and it's felt good. Allen out in Chicago. He'll be back Monday morning with all of the stories from the Windy City and what entails and what he's gotten and all the things out there in Chicago. And I'm excited about this next conversation. I'm actually very excited about this next conversation because as soon as I found out I was going to be guest hosting here in Sacramento, and I was going to be guest hosting for Allen, and obviously for those of you that don't know, like I am here in Sacktown Sports, and I'm a behind-the-scenes guy. So I've been here for a little bit over a year, since February 2024. But before that, I was on the air in Fresno, California. And as on the air, one of my favorite guests and someone that I just happened upon was Casey Pratt, then ABC7 in San Francisco, now Vice President of Communications for the Oakland Ballers. And he and I went A to Z on the stadium situation, and he became one of my favorite guests and arguably my go-to guy, and he did become my go-to guy when talking anything athletics. And so with that being said, he joins me now. Casey, good afternoon. Appreciate you taking the time to join me this afternoon.
We're so back right now, Jose. This is amazing, man.
Dude.
Yes. I'm excited for this.
It's been over a year, obviously, and kind of funny enough, you said this yesterday, but it's been a while since you and I have talked on the radio, and last time we talked, and one of the things that we used to do was obviously the Casey Pratt meter and confidence of are the Athletics going to be in Las Vegas? Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to ask you the same style of question if they're going to be in Oakland or Las Vegas. That was a question we used to have. Now, there's a lot of economic situations happening in Las Vegas. One of the hotels just recently decided not to spend $200 million that they were ready to spend on renovations. I believe it was the Wynn. And so that is happening. One of the other entities there in town, let go of an entire staff of people as well, and sources coming out kind of going, hey, like some of the higher ups are also saying, hey, kind of if you want to just start kind of stepping down instead of us having to let you go. Like I'm not confident, Casey, of what is happening in Las Vegas. I'm not confident that this is fully going to play out.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny now because I don't think either of us had in our bag the conversation would have been. It actually turned into Sacramento versus Vegas, not Oakland versus Vegas. But, last time I talked to you, I was actually covering the 49ers at the Super Bowl, so I was in Las Vegas, and I walked over to the Tropicana site pre-demolition, and I looked around from where home plate would be, and the first thing I noticed was MGM property, MGM property, MGM property, MGM property. And I was like, uh-oh, we're in trouble. And so I still, at the last time we had done our meter, I had Vegas in the lead over Oakland, and it pained me to say it. But what I realized was that there are powerful people in Vegas with a lot of money, and they will pull John Fisher and the A's kicking and screaming across the finish line no matter what happens. And tariffs be damned. We'll see if they can afford to build a stadium. But, I still think they're going to end up in Vegas. Again, I don't like saying that, but that's where I was then when we last talked. And heck, now they're in Sacramento, and that's a whole other thing. But yeah, I think it's a really dicey situation that this franchise has found itself in, and we'll see if they pull it out.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm still on the belief that is going to happen. I am not sure how, and I am not sure when. I would say when it's going to happen. I know there's like that 3-year stay. I think they're going to extend it for 1 year if you were to ask me. But kind of looking at the Athletics here in Sacramento, and I do want to talk to you about the Oakland Ballers and what independent baseball is, and really I do have an elephant question for you as well. But aside from all of those things, right now, obviously on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, one of the big things is seeing that everybody every day take a picture. How many people are in the stadium? Oh, look, they're announcing 10,000. Are there really 10,000 people in the seats? Then it became this weird, which I can't understand why, but it became this like, I'm going to trash Sacramento because they have it, and then Sacramento people are like, well, I'm going to trash you guys because you guys didn't have the. And I'm sitting here going, why are you guys, either of you, trashing each other? There's no winning in that situation. It's not the city of Sacramento, and it's not the city of Oakland. It's higher powers that be in this entire purpose. But in your estimation, how would you characterize a month in, well, I would say almost a month and a half of having baseball in Sacramento, and this first series coming up here where we know, and you were there, where Fisher says you can see guys like Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani, and you can see some of those dudes coming into the park. Forgot to mention his own guys, like maybe a Mason Miller and some of those dudes that are obviously athletics. What would you characterize so far the month and a half of this heading into the first huge series here in Sacramento?
Yeah, so I'm not a journalist covering this anymore, but I did just get nominated for an Emmy for my A's coverage.
Hey.
Shameful plug. But you know what? One of the last major things I did was when they announced Sacramento, I went to Sacramento. I went to Sutter Health Park. I talked to Vivek Ranadive. I talked to then A's president Dave Kaval. I was there. So I have a pretty good understanding of this. Now I'm speaking from just lived experience, not current analysis, but I hate what I'm seeing with this, back and forth of some people, and I think there's always going to be people that just attack everything on social media, no matter what it is. But I said that day, I say it all the time, and I maintain this. I absolutely love Sutter Health Park. I covered the River Cats there when they were the A's affiliates. I love the Sacramento market. I love what they did with the Kings and saving their team. I don't put this on the fans at all. The fans have been put in an impossible situation, both in Oakland and Sacramento, and possibly someday in Las Vegas, where you put in a team that for various reasons hasn't been very popular with people, and you're sticking them in Sacramento in a minor league park, and you're saying if you don't show up, you don't deserve big league baseball. And I think that's really unfair to the people in West Sacramento and Sacramento, because I know for sure Sacramento fans are some of the absolute best, most diehard, most loud fans. I've been to Golden One Center. I've been to Arco. I know, the Sac fans are crazy into sports. They're super loud. They're super committed, but what they're being served isn't necessarily maybe a product that they wanted or were proud of. And so I don't look at those attendance figures and blame Sacramento. And I would hate for people in Oakland to do the same. And I would hate for people in Sacramento to look at the attendance figures of the A's in their last year when fans were actively boycotting and saying, see, your average attendance was low. None of that has anything to do with the fans. It has to do with the investment in the team by the ownership. And so, yes, I don't look at, and I've said this on social media, announced attendance is not actual attendance. Mm-hmm. And I looked at opening day. They weren't at capacity, but they called it a sellout. I look at all the other games. These are clearly not sellouts in a minor league park, and I do not blame Sacramento for that. And I would hate for anybody to look down on Sacramento as a sports market because of that. It's wild to me.
We're talking to Casey Pratt, Vice President of Communications, Oakland Ballers. And Casey, I will second that, because I've had this argument in Fresno for many years where I'm like, okay, they're saying 38, but it looks like 29. Let's be real. Come on. But it's obviously it's not the turnstile. It's what they say is tickets purchased and all of those things. Now,
and every team does it. Every team does it. This is not a unique situation. Let's just say that.
No, it is not a unique situation. It is how can we pump up our numbers, because we need to kind of show a lot of those things. And it's a professional team thing that continuously happens. Now, kind of shifting away from the athletic conversation. And if I say Oakland A's, by the way, I apologize, just because I haven't been doing this. It's been a year and whatever, and I have not been saying that very often. But aside from that, I ran across a tweet of yours yesterday, and obviously, if you want to follow Casey, you can. Casey A. Pratt on X. And Casey, you guys have a scrappy sanctuary for lost animals. Can you dive into that? What is this?
Yeah, so we're doing a lot of really exciting things with the Ballers, and I think the spirit of the Ballers is, restoring and taking things and creating a living museum. Like even our ballpark is something that, it had fallen into disrepair. The Ballers came into town, like invested $1.6 million, turned it into a professional facility, a place where we can now host little league tournaments and high school championships and all these other things. So, we just acquired a legacy BART car. So we're trying to have this park now grow with us and be a living museum. And a while ago, a bunch of these statues were left behind in Oakland. There was 50 of them created. And some people that were holding on to them asked if we just wanted to display them at our park so people could still enjoy them. So, a little bit of mischief involved there, but we went and we picked up one statue from the zoo. We picked up one from Visit Oakland. We picked up one from a bar called Kingfish, and a middle school teacher happened to have the coolest one, and she offered it to us too. So we're creating a scrappy sanctuary for lost animals. It currently has 4 Stomper statues, and people can come enjoy them, take pictures with them. They were left behind, so now we're finding a way to give people another chance to enjoy them.
Stomper, would you argue Stomper is the best mascot in baseball and sports?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, obviously there's some pretty legendary ones. I happen to be pretty partial to Scrappy himself, who is a possum. He is our mascot, and he dances better than I put Scrappy's dance moves against anybody. And he's about to have his own rap song, which is coming out on opening day, which was written and will be performed by 9-year-old Ave, who's a big-time rapper coming out of Vallejo, who raps with La Russell. So if you're into rap, you should really check out Ave and La Russell. But they'll both be at our opening day. And we also have Too Short coming to the ballpark to not only perform, but make a music video with everybody in the crowd on May 22nd, which is crazy. Too Short actually just bought into our ownership group. So we're doing major things with the Oakland Ballers. We're never going to replace Major League Baseball. We're never even going to claim to be able to try to replace Major League Baseball, but what we do know is we can give people a reason to come together, and we can give people an opportunity to cheer and make new memories with their family and their friends. And, now more than ever, we all need something to come together and root for,
No, absolutely. And Casey, kind of going into that mix, obviously, for everybody else, opening day for the Oakland Ballers coming up very quickly and very soon. May 20th, you guys get the season rolling and opening night and through that week. Now, with that, for those listening and viewing on YouTube, how would you describe independent ball to them and the Pioneer League to them, and what kind of baseball they can be expecting if they decide to give it a chance and an opportunity to kind of go and see? Because obviously I'm from Fresno, California, the Fresno Grizzlies. I've been around that my entire life, a AAA affiliate of the San Francisco Giants that then became a single A affiliate of the AAA of the Astros, the Nationals, and then finally a single A affiliate of the Rockies. How is there a comparison? No comparison? How would you describe it to the listeners?
Well, first of all, you said we're on YouTube. Why didn't you send me a link? I would have turned on my webcam for this. But hopefully you have a good picture of me up. So listen, the MLB draft used to be 50 rounds, and there used to be a lot more minor league teams. MLB has pared back that. So what you have now are these really talented players that aren't getting drafted, but still need a chance, an opportunity to further their career. Like we had last year, in the first year of the Oakland Ballers, 4 players that got picked up by MLB affiliate organizations, which shows you, A, we're scouting really well, and B, there's still some incredible talent at all of these levels. Like you mentioned AAA, of course. That's the next stop to Major League Baseball. So this is also a great opportunity for me to shout out. If you're listening right now and you're in the Sacramento area, I know a lot of A's fans have already become Ballers fans, but we also have the Yuba Sutter High Wheelers there too, which is a lot closer probably to you guys. And what's funny is, we had 2 A's fans basically create a team out of thin air with the Ballers, but the Pioneer League said, in order to create this team, you need to create 2, so we have an even number of teams. So they also created the High Wheelers, and then the High Wheelers defeated the Ballers in the playoffs and went on to win the championship. So you actually have the reigning, defending Pioneer League champion High Wheelers right there in your market. So I think it's pretty cool. Their opening day is also May 20th. But if you go to these games, to me, it's like baseball in its purest form. You're way closer to the action. You can literally walk up and talk to the players after the game. It's really, to me, it's like when I would take my family to Ballers games last year before I worked for the team, it just really felt like experiencing baseball without the soul-crushing greed of billionaires hanging over your head. Let's just put it that way. It just felt like pure, awesome, fun baseball for the sake of baseball, and it was great. And yeah, like our opening day is May 20th. I have LaRussell coming to the Oakland Ballers game. I have Ave coming to the Oakland Ballers game. Opening day for the High Wheelers also May 20th. They're gonna have a pregame flyover from Beale Air Force Base. They got legend Jim Stassi throwing out their first pitch. His son Max Stassi played for the A's. So yeah, we are offering other ways for people to enjoy baseball, and I think that you will be really shocked by like how great the competitive level is, and a lot of these guys do spin off into MLB teams when they find success. So it's really fun.
We're talking to Casey Pratt, Vice President of Communications for the Oakland Ballers. Now, Casey, I would kick myself if I did not talk to you about the Golden State Warriors. And Steph Curry, are you okay? Are you feeling okay after Steph Curry hurt the hamstring?
Oh, dude, I mean, we talk a lot about the A's, but I mean, on your show too in Fresno, like we used to talk Niners, we used to talk Warriors, we used to talk everything. I covered everything. Yeah, it's really disappointing. They did win the first game of the series against the Timberwolves, which is great. But it's always tough to overcome the loss of Steph Curry. I mean, the dude is one of one. And the orbit that's around him, like the gravity that he pulls when he's on the court, makes so many other things happen. And he's also a guy that's constantly moving. He's not just sitting in the corner waiting for you to pass him the ball. Like he's creating the entire time. So how they overcome that will be tricky. Obviously, they have Jimmy Butler, who helps a lot. But yeah, I mean, the Timberwolves are a tough team to beat with Steph Curry. So I'm not really loving the hamstring situation, but it is just part of sports. Hamstrings, by the way, too, Jose, as you well know, it takes a long time to heal hamstrings.
Yes.
It sounds like he's, possibly going to be out a week. If you ever look at a Warriors press release, by the way, if you guys are listening to this, and you probably have a lot of Kings fans, you're like, shut up about the Warriors, but probably applies for the Kings too. If they say a player will be reevaluated in a week, that basically means he's out a week, and then hopefully he can start playing again. So the Warriors are reevaluating Steph in a week, I believe, and we'll see. We'll see if he can make it back if the Warriors keep the season and series going long enough for him to make a return.
Casey Pratt, Vice President Communications, Oakland Ballers. Make sure to go check out Independent Baseball, Pioneer League, Oakland Ballers, Yuba City. Go check and give everything a chance and an opportunity. Casey, I am grateful for you taking the time to join Allen Stiles Show today.
Allen Stiles, by the way, did work for the Ballers last year.
Yes.
Shout out Allen Stiles. Shout out Ballers. We got a lot in common, Jose. I think we should do this more. I'm not saying you have to kick Allen off the air, but I think you are in charge over there. You should put yourself on a little more, and then just give me a call whenever you do it.
Yeah, I can pull some strings. I appreciate you, Casey.
Yeah.
Oh, have a great one. Casey Pratt, Vice President Communications, Oakland Ballers. Very grateful to him. Very grateful to all of you that continue listening. We'll talk more on the other side. It's the Allen Stiles Show, Sacktown Sports, 1140.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Sacramento's premier music festival, Country in the Park, is only a few weeks away with Bailey Zimmerman. Harrington, Nate Smith, Ernest, and more. Friday and Saturday, May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo. Don't miss pop-up stores, food trucks, line dancing, and more. Country in the Park, celebrating 25 years, May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Goldfield Trading Post, Java City, and Elemental Wine. Get tickets and more at CITVFest.com.
Have you ever dreamed of shopping for the perfect jewelry from home? Well, now it's possible, and you can even build your credit. PrestigiOJewelers.com now offers online shopping, making us the premium credit jeweler nationwide. With an exceptional selection of fine jewelry, from engagement rings and gold chains to sparkling diamond earrings and much more. With over 30 years of experience, Prestigio guarantees you'll find exactly what you're looking for. It's fast and easy. Once approved, you'll receive a guaranteed credit line from $400 to $10,000. All you need is to be 18 years or older, have a valid form of ID, be employed for a minimum of 6 months, and a bank account for automatic payments. PrestigioJewelers.com is the perfect way to establish or reestablish your credit, with interest rates at only 2.25% per month. We are here to help you with monthly reporting to all major credit bureaus. The perfect jewelry, the perfect price, helping you build perfect credit. Visit us online at PrestigioJewelers.com or at one of our locations in Sacramento, Stockton, Merced, and Fresno. Enter code SACTOWNSPORTS at checkout to save 10%.
Hey, I'm Allen Stiles. Have an injury? Call Downtown. Downtown LA Law Group, an injury law firm, has many happy clients in Sacramento and the surrounding areas who have called Downtown. Get paid for your injuries from slip and falls or auto accidents. One of their most recent settlements was $1.5 million for a motorcycle accident. Have you had an auto accident? Call Downtown. Text injury help to 40222. That's injury help to 40222 and visit them at calldowntown.com.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sacktown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting sacktownsports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
Listen, Mom loves anything you give her for Mother's Day, but what she really wants is a call or a visit. Anything to feel close to you, and a digital picture frame from Aura will go a long way to making her feel closer to you. Help Mom miss you less by putting the power of technology to work. Aura Frames was named the best digital photo frame by Wirecutter and featured in 495 gift guides this past year. I absolutely love it. There's no doubt in my mind my wife Janet is getting one of these things. She loves pictures so much. I know she is going to love this product. So the next time you need to call your mom, you can also send her a new pic of you from that trip that you were telling her all about right from your phone. Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. For a limited time, listeners can save on this perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off plus free shipping on their best-selling Carver matte frame. That's AURAFrames.com. Promo code ROAM. Support the station by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions do apply.
Carmichael Dave here for my good friends at American Energy. As a native Sacramentan, I can tell you, not that you need to know, that it might be nice right now, but turn the corner. Oh my God, it's so hot. Yeah, you know, summer is coming. And my friends at American Energy want to make sure you are dialed with your AC unit. So how about this? Half off tune-up right now. It's a special going on, just $24.50. To get your air conditioner tuned up, a free diagnostic. And oh, by the way, if you need a new AC unit, up to $3,500 in rebates on qualifying system installations. That's right. They've been serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. Give them a call, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990. Here's the song.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Insurance companies perform a very valuable service, but they want to keep their money. Although most cases settle before trial, it is paramount that the insurance companies know that if pressed, your legal team has the experience to take your case all the way. For 25 years, Ashton & Price has earned the reputation that if the insurance company isn't fair, we're ready to force them to be fair. My mom used to warn me, wait till dad gets home. Think of us as dad. The best part, there's no fee until we win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date. Your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected. Your floor mats are cleaned and delivered. And your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
and get ready for the workday.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140. Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and vocal.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Three hours in the books. 1 hour right in front of us here. Jose Gonzalez filling in for Allen Stiles. He'll be right back with you on Monday. And appreciate all of you for joining us, following along, for being part of the conversation, for all of your YouTube chat, for just being you. I'm Mr. Positive out here.
And channeling your inner Allen Stiles, are we? High energy, positivity.
All day, every day, man. All day, every day. And you know what's hilarious about this is at my show, when I was hosting, feels like saying back in the day, but it's not back in the day.
It was 18 months ago.
18 months ago. I am not Mr. Positive. So, like, people are getting a side of me that I don't show too often on it. Like, I'll tell you, people at Fresno State constantly were letting me know, hey, man, can you give us a little bit of a break? Like, can you calm down? And no, I am that guy. But at the exact same time, I'm like, you know what? It's middle of the day. I want to be positive.
So the opposite of Allen Stiles. We don't want the world is ending with every small decision here. We want, positivity, happiness, and everything is all roses here. I love it.
That is how I've engaged today. I don't want everybody listening to Jose Gonzalez for the first time and going, man, this guy, he's a real negative Nancy out here.
Yeah, they let this guy be the boss? That's crazy.
Like, how is he the... I don't know. I still ask myself that question all the time. With that, obviously, I appreciate the kind compliments as well on the YouTube chat. But kind of going through this, I am for those of you obviously that are that don't know me, I'm a Niner guy. I'm a Niner fan. And I am not a negative Nancy Niner fan, but I'm also not Mr. Positive Niner fan.
Bang bang.
Yeah, I sit right in that middle. I will tell you one of my biggest and grandest opinions that I've ever given about the San Francisco 49ers. And that is that when they sign Brock Purdy to an extension, they will not win a Super Bowl. Has been my grandest one, and I say that not because I don't think Brock Purdy's not good. I think he's good. Now, I was kind of a Trey Lance guy. I will also be open and transparent.
Even in the draft?
No, I didn't think they were going to take him in the draft,
okay.
But I thought if you're going to trade up to 3, you're taking someone you feel really confident in. I thought they shouldn't have traded up to 3. I think that Trey Lance would have fell to them because I don't know if anybody else was as high as the 49ers on Trey Lance.
No, they gave up the same amount for him that at the time the Broncos gave up for Russell Wilson.
So looking at all of that, so that is the premise, and that is the line right now of the San Francisco 49ers. I just wanted to give you guys a baseline of what we're gonna do right now. The Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers make a trade. And in that trade, they send Pickens from the Steelers to the Dallas Cowboys, and the Cowboys send a couple of picks, and the Steelers also attached a pick to it for the Dallas Cowboys. And in that, it's intriguing because now you have CeeDee Lamb, you have George Pickens if you're the Dallas Cowboys. Now, also, Don't the Steelers have a history of getting rid of wide receivers that become troublesome as soon as they leave Pennsylvania?
I guess, though, George Pickens was troublesome before he left Pennsylvania.
Technically, all of them have been, right? Like, just quietly behind closed doors. Like, the year before they get rid of Antonio Brown, we had seen some of that. Like, he already had kicked the punter in the chest, right? Like, we've seen some of those things before. You also talk about Chase Claypool, right? No effort on some of the plays. We'd seen it before. So, to me, I look at the Pittsburgh Steelers and I go, okay, well, I'm not a Dallas Cowboy guy, so I can appreciate if you're going to be hurting the Dallas Cowboys from within. But aside from that, the Pittsburgh Steelers just opened up a wide receiver spot. There's been a lot of speculation, Kyle, that the San Francisco 49ers want to trade Brandon Ayuk.
This is true.
Last year, before the deal got done, they were dang near about to get across the finish line.
Yep, he was going to Pittsburgh.
He was gone. Kyle Shanahan running up the 10 flights of stairs to get to John Lynch and say, don't do it. Don't do it, please. He's good. We got him signed. Is this a real avenue, or did the Pittsburgh Steelers, caveat to this, Aaron Rodgers, speculation, Steelers, quarterback?
Seems like it's probably going to happen. They're just waiting for the draft pick rules to expire.
Yeah, really soon. It's about to happen. Now, we can go out of our way and say that maybe Aaron Rodgers has instructed the Pittsburgh Steelers that if you want me to sign, you got to go get one of my receivers, right? That's the joke. The same thing, right? Like, you got to go MVS. You got to go get Lazard. Like, one of these dudes, right? Like, someone that I play with, that I'm comfortable, that I know. That's what happened in New York with the Jets.
Is Randall Cobb still hanging around?
Randall Cobb is always hanging around. With that, now, you want to speculate, you can say that's what he's doing. The other speculation is the Pittsburgh Steelers went out, got DK Metcalf, which I'm still weird with, because it's just, it's not natural right now for me to say DK Metcalf is a Pittsburgh Steeler. So they go and get Metcalf. Is BA a good compliment, a good number 2 to a DK Metcalf? How insane would that receiver room really be if you go and make that decision? What do you think is more likely? That BA gets traded to Pittsburgh and that's the reality of why they open up a wide receiver spot? Now, I'm speaking all of this without having investigated, and this is a little bit of what I do sometimes, without having investigated the salary cap conversation, right? Because that's also something, how much dead cap would the Niners take? How much cap would the Steelers be absorbing? What's the real capital that kind of changes hands here? Thinking of all of those things, though, let's live in la la land without all of the restrictions that come with making a trade in the NFL, which I think overcomplicates absolutely everything. It's not like the NBA where it's like, how can we just match salaries? It's who's taking dead cap, how much dead cap, and all of those things. Is it more likely that the Steelers are trying to trade for Brandon Ayuk and the San Francisco 49ers are looking to make this happen? Obviously, with the rumors, or that the Steelers open up a spot because they're going to bring an Aaron Rodgers guy in?
So I guess the most likely scenario is they're bringing in an Aaron Rodgers guy, which the other interesting part is that Robert Woods signed with them like days before they traded George Pickens, but it was after the draft. I thought that was an interesting little twist to the whole Pittsburgh Steelers story. It's tough because Brandon Ayuk just got like a $23 million bonus from the 49ers. So to your point about the salary cap machinations and everything, it would have made more sense for them to trade him and make the other team pay the bonus instead of like, hey, we just paid him $23 million and now we're going to trade him off. Like, that would be, they can do it. It would just be like, why did you do that? Why would you give him $250 million and then have him not play another game for your team? So that kind of made me think they probably want to go in with Brandon Ayuk next year. Maybe it doesn't last past the trade deadline. Who knows? I think they're probably going to get into training camp in the start of the season with him. But the George Pickens trade, I don't think Pittsburgh necessarily got great value for him either. So it does make me question, do they bring in the Allen Lazard, whoever else, once Rodgers gets there? Or do they just really like Roman Wilson and want to see if Roman Wilson can grow into a number 2 receiver?
I 100% hear you on this, because I have a hard time believing that as well. Now, if you're the 49ers, there would be regression there, right? You would be sitting in this spot of going, okay, now who's their number 1, right? Who is your number 1 receiver? And outside of that, who is your number 2? Are you really going to be going into this with Pearsall and with Jennings? Is that how we're going to look at this? If you're the 49ers, because I agree. How do you give him all of this money? How do you guarantee him all of this? How do you a year later tell your fans we had a trade ready and on the books without paying this guy? We decided to pay him, and then a year later we decided we're still going to send you to that team we had an agreement on already.
Well, and the other part that makes it unlikely, I feel like, is after trading for Metcalf, they cashed him out. They gave him $132 million. About 60 of it is guaranteed, but it's essentially a 6-year contract extension over the life of the deal. And I just don't see them paying. It would be very un-Steelers-like to pay 2 receivers top 10 money in the NFL. And maybe San Francisco pays down some of the Ayuk contract, who knows, but that would seem un-Pittsburgh Steelers-like to
But
pay.
what if Aaron Rodgers is coming in at a discount?
I mean,
what if Aaron Rodgers says, you know what, I'm willing to mentor, I'm willing to do whatever it is, right? Like, that's what the speculation was. I'm willing to mentor in Minnesota and make that move. What if Aaron Rodgers says, you know what, I got the money?
It's possible, and they chose not to re-sign Najee Harris, which opened up some money for them. I would be surprised if that's the route that they went, because even if they do go that way, Aaron Rodgers is not necessarily a long-term investment if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, versus DK Metcalf. That is a capital L long-term investment that they've made. That is essentially a 6-year contract that they just gave him.
So it's going to be interesting. For those of you that don't know, the Dallas Cowboys sent a 2026 third-round pick, a 2027 fifth-round pick. The Steelers send Pickens and a 2027 six-round pick to the Dallas Cowboys. Do you like this for the Cowboys? Like, I know we're talking about the potential with the Niners and the Steelers and what that looks like, and obviously knowing that I think this is a buffer year for the San Francisco 49ers. Like, obviously you don't want to say they're not wanting to contend. I think they're still going to be good. You have Brock Purdy. You have some good pieces. You just signed George Kittle to an extension. But then you go and look at your left tackles not getting any younger. How many, 1 or 2 more years does Trent Williams have outside of that? So looking at that, but if you're the Dallas Cowboys, you really don't have anything outside of Dak Prescott, right, at quarterback. Looking at, there's no one behind him really.
Well, they let Cooper Rush go. So.
And they didn't re-sign Trey Lance.
Man, who is the backup now for the Cowboys?
So,
let's see.
I like they let Trey Lance walk, and they obviously Cooper Rush as well. You got the answer?
It's Joe Milton, apparently.
Okay, they went and drafted.
Milton was on the Patriots last year.
Oh, they made that trade earlier. Actually, now it's clicking to me. They made that late round trade for
undrafted. Okay, sure.
Yeah, no, I think it was before the draft.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, they went and and Patriots fans were like just seething at the fact that instead of keeping him as a backup, they traded him to the Dallas Cowboys.
They also have Miles Sanders now. I missed that.
So looking at that, is this going to be successful for the Dallas Cowboys and for their kingdom, who has been waiting for a playoff run since that hasn't happened since the mid-90s?
The individual trade itself, yeah, I think is that they just got a high-end wide receiver too. So I would say yes. Now they're going to probably have to extend him, so we'll see how that goes. If they're paying CeeDee Lamb potentially $40 million and George Pickens $20 million and Dak Prescott $60 million, I don't know. how that's going to go. Maybe this is just a rental. I don't know exactly. But
do the Dallas Cowboys win a Super Bowl in the next 15 years?
No. You could have made that 25. I would have said no. They're so far behind the 8 ball right now. And it's kind of funny in a sense that Dak Prescott is just his generation's Tony Romo. And they're basically that same, like they're a top 10 quarterback, but they're never going to have the supporting cast to actually compete.
And you know why I've never been a Dak Prescott guy? Because as soon as that offensive line has began to dwindle, right? Like when he first came up to be the starting quarterback, they had the best offensive line in all of football. Like there was no question about that. That offensive line was insane and made Ezekiel Elliott didn't make him. I think Zeke was great coming out of college, but truly made him look like the top running back in football because of how dang good they were.
Running games are a byproduct of offensive line and running back.
Exactly. And so as I look at that, I go, okay, Dak has always kind of sat in that good spot. Now he throws over 4,000 yards. He's consistent on those ends. But every time he's gotten into big moments, he does not come through. And that, I think, has been the MO of the Dallas Cowboys. And they're going to be a product of the fact that they can never, and I mean never, make the decision to say, we're going to blow this up. And we're going to decide to just go and try to go and tank and go get the number 1 pick and go and get the quarterback. Because there might, like, depending on what Manning does, right, this upcoming year in Texas, that's the guy that a lot of people are looking at, right? Like, if he looks like the part, he's going to be the guy. But Dallas, because of who they are, can never go and make this decision, even though I think Cowboy fans might be clamoring for it. Just look, hit the reset button, dang it. Like, just do it, please. I think they're going to be sitting in this mediocre spot that is what we talk about maybe with the Sacramento Kings, right? Where we say, do you blow it up? Do you try to retool? The Dallas Cowboys, I don't think, do either. They don't retool. They don't blow it up. They just kind of take status quo as status quo comes. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that all shapes out and how it continues to go through. Bandwagon fans, you have them in San Francisco, right? A lot of people say Golden State Warriors. A lot of them were bandwagon fans. You talk about the San Francisco 49ers. When did they potentially have some of those approach? Do you follow winning teams? Do you jump around? How does that look? We'll dive into that because I'm intrigued to hear Kyle's answer and what the Sack Chat also has to say on this. We are filling in for Allen Stiles right here on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Father's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for dads and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV, RV wins.
What are you going to take the RV to the lake or clean out your closet?
RV wins!
Putting the dishes away or taking the RV camping?
RV wins!
Cleaning the fridge or taking a trip to the beach?
RV wins!
You might want to clean the fridge real quick because, mold.
We clean out the fridge, then take the RV out.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states and situations.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Jose Gonzalez filling in for Allen Stiles. Appreciate you for joining us for the past 3 hours and 20-ish minutes here or there, give or take. Kevin Gleason will be joining us here in a few. And always, Allen Stiles coming back with you on Monday. And Allen and Kyle will be back together in Embrace on Monday morning, right before the show.
As we do every day.
Every single day. And they just started doing, it's in front of my office, and it's every
just a
day.
big kiss on the cheek for Allen.
Allen traveling all the way to Chicago. Have you been to Chicago? I asked the two guys. I asked Brendan and Chris, but I didn't ask you.
I've been to Chicago one time before. I went to a game at Wrigley, which was very cool. But one day, as part of a larger trip with me and my brother, so I've gotten to see Wrigley one time. They're actually playing the Giants, ironically.
Now, one of my friends went out to the draft in Milwaukee. Not Milwaukee, pardon me, in Green Bay, and went to a playoff game, to a Milwaukee playoff game, got to see them lose, and then went to Wrigley Field, and he wanted to be nice, so he didn't send me the picture because he knows Wrigley's on my bucket list of places to be, but he sent it in our group chat, and I knew it was directed at me, and I turned to my wife, and I go, I hate him right now. I'm so jealous. I'm absolutely jealous.
If the Braves make a turnaround, the Cubs are looking like they're going to be in the playoffs this year. Maybe you get a little Braves-Cubs playoff game at some point here.
I don't go to playoff games anymore because the last one I was at was Braves-Dodgers in Dodger Stadium, and it was the one where the Dodgers just thumped the heck out of the Braves. And I remember it was Taylor. I think Taylor hit 3 home runs or something like that in that game. And he just whips one into left field. And it was kind of where I was sitting. I was sitting behind that pole, and it was a couple of sections over. And I turned to my wife and I said, let's go. I'm good. Let's go. And she's like, you sure you don't want to watch the rest of the game? I'm like, I'm not ready for every single Dodger fan in this place to start insulting me right now.
Once in a lifetime.
Let's go. I'm out. Let's dip. And we got out of there, and we beat all of that horrible traffic getting out of Chavez Ravine.
Yeah, it's funny enough, the only playoff games in any sport I've ever been to are at Dodger Stadium, just because they were Padres playoff games, which they won in 2022, which was awesome. But last year I went to the one where Ohtani hit the monster home run in his first playoff at bat. But the next game they won, I wasn't there, but the next game they won 10-2.
Someone said Cubs Red Sox World Series.
Just speaking it into existence.
I'm not there with the Cubs yet. I think they're going to be good. I think they're maybe a year away from serious contention. I think really I like the NL West so much. Like as long as the NL West stays healthy, because obviously a lot of this has to do with health. I think they're going to be fine. I can't jump on the bandwagon yet of the San Francisco Giants. Someone in the chat said, I've been a Niner fan. My family's been Niner fans since my grandpa was watching TV and watching them as a little kid. I'm a Braves fan because of my grandfather. And with that, like, I'm gonna be clear with everybody, right? Like, I wasn't a Kings fan when I got here, but since Kyle can attest to this, I have a couple of Kings shirts, a couple of Kings hats that I've purchased with my own money that I've gone out of my way to really invest in being a Sacramento Kings fan. Now, in Fresno, one of the things that I got to see was the evolution, or better said, the bandwagoning of Warriors fans. Like in Fresno, there was never. I want the same answer here about Sacramento. I want to get your take a little bit through that as well. I never saw Golden State Warriors stuff in Fresno, and then they start winning, and there's Warrior things. I see Warrior hats, and I'm like, whoa, this was a Laker town. This is not a Warrior town. What did you see something similar maybe here in Sacramento? Or in San Diego, anyway?
So I haven't been in Sacramento during the peak of the Warriors days. I got in the general area in 2019. I've spent my entire adult life here, which is not that long, but year 7, baby. But in San Diego, it's very interesting because obviously they don't have a basketball team. So it was obviously a 50-50 split between Clippers and Lakers for the most part. And a lot of modern basketball is rooting for players too also, right? Like people who are around San Diego State loved Kawhi Leonard. So it was like, oh, we love San Antonio and now we want Toronto to win the championship because we're Kawhi Leonard guys. We went to go watch him play in college. So it's like, that's sometimes what modern NBA fans were. In an alternate universe, I would have probably been a Lakers fan because they were the only team on TV.
Ooh.
But my prime basketball watching years were from 2011 to 2019. The Lakers were off. They gave me nothing to care about.
Jordan Clarkson,
Swaggy
Lonzo
P.
Ball, Swaggy P,
Yeah.
Julius Randle.
Oh, I thought Lonzo Ball was going to be great. But again, once they traded all the players I liked, I was like, whatever, I don't care anymore. Because I never liked him in the first place. So once they traded Kuzma, who I used to love, it was like, okay. D'Angelo Russell, I was like, okay, all the players I like
Brandon
are
Ingram.
gone.
They traded the farm. Everybody.
Yeah, and then I got lucky that my first year working in sports, which is the thing that I've always wanted to do, was around the Beam Team season. And that's like, oh, this is so special and so fun. I get to work the first playoff game after the longest playoff drought in NBA history. This is magical and amazing. So I was very fortunate to have that moment, because when you grow up in San Diego, the sports teach you that all your teams are going to leave you and all your sports heroes are going to die young. So it was great to have a fun, pure run like the Beam Team be my first real year working in sports.
No, it's to me. I want to parlay that into our bandwagon fans, good for sports or bad for sports. To me, it's great for sports. And I say that because it is when you begin to hate them, right? So like when you see a crop of new, fresh fans of a team, it's usually because that team has been successful and people love to hate. So it's the Kansas City Chiefs, right? No one hated the Chiefs. No one hated the Chiefs. And then Patrick Mahomes becomes unbeatable. Then you start finding all of these things about the NFL, and you're like, NFL's trying to help the Chiefs win Super Bowls. And you stop crediting the guy who is as successful as can be in the guy at quarterback. Same thing, I think, is Golden State, right? Like one of the highest points of the NBA was Golden State, the Cavs. It was, I hate Golden State. I kind of hate LeBron James too, right? Like there's a love and hate relationship with LeBron James for a lot of people. That was one of the best like hate-filled moments for him.
One of the most insightful things that I've heard about that is once the team or the dynasty in question gets to the point where they're beating everyone else's fan base and has delivered heartbreak to a certain number of teams, that's when you see the switch flip. Is like once they've broken your heart, that's when you don't like them. Once they've broken enough teams' hearts, then people start to hate them because they all have that negative connotation with Warriors, Chiefs, insert whatever other team.
Thank you for explaining why I hate the Kansas City Chiefs. It's
because they've broken your heart twice.
Sanders, Jimmy Garoppolo. What is happening? Yeah,
we got your sixth ring right here and your seventh ring right there on Patrick Mahomes' finger.
Kevin Gleason is going to join us next. That's not the way I want to end the segment. I feel
by revisiting one of the hardest sports moments of your life when Patrick
show almost
Mahomes...
over. I'm like, oh yeah, that was it was the first time I got to see the Niners in the Super Bowl, and they were leading, and then it's just it didn't.
Which one?
Well, both, I guess. All right, Allen Stiles Show, Sacktown Sports 1140.
The Sacktown Sports 1140 newsletter. Right to your email. Get your latest on the Sacramento Kings, UC Davis, and Sac State with a Sacktown Sports 1140 newsletter. Visit SacktownSports.com to join.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
Full details and disclaimers. The success you've already had matters at University of Maryland Global Campus because we're a school for real life. An accredited state university, UMGC lets you earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning, life, and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer affordable tuition and online and hybrid courses. Classes start May 14th. Apply now and save with no application fee. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Sacramento's premier music festival, Country in the Park, is only a few weeks away with Bailey Zimmerman, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, Ernest, and more. Friday and Saturday, May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo. Don't miss pop-up stores, food trucks, line dancing, and more. Country in the Park, celebrating 25 years, May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Goldfield Trading Post, Java City, and Elemental Wine. Get tickets and more at CITPFest.com.
Carmichael Dave here for my good friends at American Energy. As a native Sacramentan, I can tell you, not that you need to know, that it might be nice right now, but turn the corner. Oh my God, it's so hot. Yeah, you know, summer is coming. And my friends at American Energy want to make sure you are dialed with your AC unit. So how about this half off tune-up right now? It's a special going on, just $24.50 to get your air conditioner tuned up. A free diagnostic. And oh, by the way, if you need a new AC unit, up to $3,500 in rebates on qualifying system installations. That's right. They've been serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. Give them a call, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990. Here's the song.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents as local but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Jose Gonzalez filling in for Allen Stiles. He is back on Monday. So make sure you're tuning in. And also remind you, SacktownSports.com, Sacktown Sports app. You can find us and follow with us and take us anywhere and everywhere. Not physically. Well, technically physically.
Sure. Whatever you want to do, whatever works.
Kevin Gleason, Whitey Gleason joining me now.
You a Guns N' Roses guy? Or are you playing like
everything? I'm genuinely everything. I'm like, when I was in Fresno, and I keep telling everybody about Fresno, putting us on the map. But when I was in Fresno, people who didn't know me would think I'm older than I am. Mm-hmm. They just heard my voice. And so like Bob Dylan and like I would play Buddy Holly and like I would go from the 50s Buddy on Holly, sometimes. Wow. So yeah, like every day is one of my favorite songs.
Buddy Holly, good stuff.
Yeah, I know a little bit of music, not a lot.
I touched 5 different decades already today.
Yeah,
really?
Up to recent to through. Like you played I don't know if I can say it on the air, but 21 questions, right? That was what that was.
Oh yeah. Why would you not be able to say that?
No, I forget about it. It's nothing.
I have a friend who used to work with me on the station, Mark Kreidler, and he would handle the music at his son's high school baseball games, and his son's in the Tigers organization now, Ryan. But anyway, real quick, he would do the music like walk-up music, and the players would say, "I want you to play this, play that," and he's like, "Okay." And he didn't check the music. So he played on one occasion some music out over the loudspeaker that was not appropriate to be played in such a setting.
Do you like
a little hack there?
Do you like the videos that come out with the parents changing the kids, the kids walk up music nowadays? Like the boys walking up and it's like girls just like to have fun and they'll like play some of those things. Like, Is that funny to you guys? It's like, or like, I'm a new parent, right? Like I have a 5-month-old back at home. And so like for me, I go, I don't know if I'd find that funny.
Right. I don't think I'd do that.
Yeah.
As someone who was the teenager most recently of this group, I would say it's probably hilarious for the parents, but there's nothing worse than being a 14-year-old boy who just had his parents embarrass him in front of his entire team.
A classic dad. Yeah. By the way, the funniest thing is when the A's did that in 2011, 2012, And who was it? Somebody did it for Josh Reddick, and they made his walk-up music "Careless Whisper."
Oh.
And I think he decided, all right, and then he kind of rolled with it.
Rolled with it. Yeah, I only find it funny when the kid embraces it and he's like dancing up to it, and he's like, "Yeah, all right." Like I'm into it. That's when I do find it like a little amusing. Outside of that, you can just see the kids just shake their head, just dad, mom, whatever.
Yeah.
So I've seen that. Now, one of the things in the chat that they talked about, because we're talking about bandwagon fans. Now, you were in San Francisco during some of the success of the Golden State Warriors.
And the Giants, and yes.
Now, with that being said, one of the things they're talking about is like, okay, we only started hating LeBron when he left Cleveland for Miami. Started to hate KD when he left OKC to go to Golden State. Like a lot of people were like, that's when we started hating guys. I like bandwagon fans because, you got to have them. Like you got to have those people that make you dislike a franchise, because I feel like that's what bandwagons do.
I think every franchise that's successful has them. And the funny thing to me is, I heard you guys talking about it a moment ago. We all like to pretend that only other franchises have bandwagon fans. It's like, so-and-so, name the team. They're all bandwagon fans. But every team, when they're successful, they have bandwagon fans too. They're not exclusive to any one team. They're just exclusive to any team that's playing well. People are like, I don't really like sports. Oh, my team won. Oh, I love them.
E40 was at Kings games back in the 2000s.
Now he's all about San Francisco, right?
Exactly.
He's the main 49er player.
Blails right there in the middle.
Just floating around. And I only bring it up because, like, for me, the most recent thing you can't call me a bandwagon for the Sacramento Kings, which, by the way, like, you just can't call me that. But aside from that, like, I've always been a Niner fan, a Brave fan, and like I watched soccer growing up with my dad.
That's not a weird combination, is it, Kyle? I'm a 49er fan and an Atlanta Braves fan.
I've never heard that one before. Oh, and growing up, you were a Laker fan, right?
Why do you gotta bring that up, Kyle? I avoided that for 3 hours and 30 minutes.
That's why I said growing up,
I was a Kobe fan.
Sure.
He did that when I introduced him to Jerry Reynolds. This is Jerry Reynolds. Oh, like the first thing he said, I was a Laker fan as a kid. Jerry almost said, well, I'm done.
Jerry almost walked out of my office.
See you later.
Yeah. He had the best smile on his face, and it just went away.
Might not have been the time.
But aside from, and by the way, Braves, TBS, like that was what I grew up on, right? Getting out of school,
I get it,
going.
Sure, I get that. It's just the Niners combination with that is a little more peculiar.
And interesting enough, I'm like, Jeff Garcia was a quarterback that I grew up watching, right? Jeff Garcia into Alex Smith.
And then just randomly a Montreal Canadiens fan. I don't know why. Just crazy combination.
It's really funny how people become fans of teams. Sometimes it's very natural. I grew up and my family loved them. My dad loved them. But other times, I used to work with this guy that during the football season, he would wear Steelers jerseys and hats and all this stuff. Huge Steeler fan. And so I asked him, why are you such a Steeler fan? Oh, I grew up, the Steelers and the Cowboys were always in the Super Bowl. And my brother liked the Cowboys, and I hated my brothers. So I was a Steelers fan.
I hear, and I hear other people like the same thing. They're like, my entire family is a Dodger fan, so I'm a Giants fan. And just that's what I like to do.
Strange.
Yeah, that's why I like those Texas Rangers teams in the early 2010s. Is like my brother really liked Mike Trout, and I just wanted to be mean to him, so I picked Texas.
Wow. Ron Washington.
Yeah.
Now an Angels manager on that. It's for me, like the Niners thing was family. Was my entire family always watched Niner games, and they wanted to. The Braves thing, Bobby Cox, Selma, California native. So because of that, there was a connection.
I didn't even know we had a Selma, California.
The capital, the raisin capital of the world is what they like to call themselves.
Okay.
Are you a raisins fan? Like, do you like raisins?
Sure. I'd say more than not.
Or do you pick them out of trail mix? Like, are you?
No,
I
like
eating them,
I like a
or
good
you
raisin.
I'm more of a raisin supporter than a raisin fan.
Chocolate covered raisins, good stuff. Sure, Raisin Bran, love it. Yeah,
Raisin
I'm gonna have to visit Selma this summer.
They used to have a festival.
Someone
downstairs is the one who told me. They're like, "You've never been to the Raisin Festival?" I went, "There's a Raisin Festival." I lived there my entire life. Didn't know there was a Raisin Festival in Selma.
I didn't even know there was a Selma. I'm learning a lot today.
Yeah, it's a crazy world.
And Bobby Cox is from there. That's interesting.
Yeah, okay. Bobby and I remember my grandfather always. Bobby Cox leaves pitchers in too long all the time.
Now, are you saying you're a Bobby Cox fan because he's from the raisin capital of the world? Because you mentioned you went right to Bobby Cox.
No, I'm a fan of his because he used to get ejected all the time.
Oh, okay.
I love Bobby Cox ejections. Mm-hmm. It was awesome, and we was leading up to that
Who's
record.
This? You know who that is? It's the Leo Mazzoni.
Yeah,
Leo Mazzoni, the pitching coach.
I was, man.
He would sit
you
there.
Just, yeah, I'm like,
yeah,
you just, my brain just went. Yeah. I remember that for some reason as a kid. With that though, and kind of talking a little bit, I want to dive into the Golden State Warriors. How crazy is it that Steph Curry has his first like major injury? Like, isn't that crazy to think? Like, obviously outside the hand, and that picture was, by the way, it was insane.
Yeah,
the zoom in picture that they did of his hand, like. You sit there and you go, how is he still playing and shooting three? Like, how is he still executing at such a high level with the way his hand looks coming out of an airplane?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, and if you don't have to bury the lead if how much you guys are going to go into this later in the show, obviously, with the Drive Guys coming up next here at 2 o'clock all the way to 6. Are the Warriors cooked if he misses 2 games?
Probably. I would think so. But these playoffs, nothing applies. No logic applies. All the things you think you know about playoff basketball, I don't know, maybe. So I would think they would be. I think that's one of the problems Minnesota had in the first game. They didn't take the Warriors seriously enough. But one quick note about Steph Curry and injuries. There was a time when the Warriors weren't sure that he had a future. When they got Bogut, the Bucks could have had. The Warriors said, do you want who it was I can't remember his name now. Other guard, Monte Ellis. Yeah. You want him or you want Steph? Whatever you guys want. And they went Monte Ellis. And part of it was because Steph Curry was always getting injured. He was always injuring his ankles, always, constantly, chronic. And then apparently, according to legend, he worked with a trainer and he figured out how to run differently. Can you imagine that? Yes. And he just changed his stride. And if you can imagine how difficult that would be. And since then, and I'm sure he's done other things too, but he doesn't have the chronic ankle injuries.
It's going to be interesting to see. Now, I do want to touch really quickly on OKC blows out Denver. Insane. The sheer dominance that OKC has imposed. And I said this to Watkins earlier and Brendan. I thought that if you would have told me that series would be 1-1 going back to Denver, I would feel confident for the Nuggets. And I don't feel an ounce of confidence that they're going to turn that series around. I feel like it's just over. It just feels like a gentleman's sweep is about to head our way.
Yeah, because OKC handed them the first game. So you thought maybe there's some cracks in the armor, but they showed last night. No, we screwed up. We're not going to do it again.
Now, this NBA playoffs, it's been bananas. Like, not only, like, there have been great games. We talk about the New York Knicks coming back down 22 times against the Boston Celtics. We talk about, the craziness at OKC and that craziness is different kind of insanity. Indiana Pacers coming back in what feels like seconds to win a game. Tyrese Halliburton, what he's done in that series. For you, where would you look at and rank so far through round 1, couple of games into round 2? Because as myself, I feel like I usually don't fully tune in until about the Western Conference and Eastern Conference Finals. That's when I'm like, okay, we have some evenness to this. But right now, I feel like it's tune-in time. Like, round 1 was great. Round 2 has been just as good.
Yeah, we were kidding about it last night on the Drive Guys. And, we had the Knicks and the Celtics on. And one of the last things we said before we left was I said, hey, whatever's going on in this Knicks Celtics, don't turn your back on the ending. Make sure you see the end because you never know. And then, what happens? It's like, oh, my goodness. And the way the road teams have been winning last night was the first time in 7 games that the home team won a game. I don't know that I've ever seen anything quite like that.
Now, I do want to talk some Kings with you. I feel like we haven't talked Kings in a bit here on the show. We with Brendan and with Chris, we went A to Z on the front office and coaching staff. And obviously looking at where this team has gone, where this front office is, where the coaching staff is, where the potential player personnel are going, how would you look at the front office so far with BJ Armstrong coming in and being BJ Armstrong such a player guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Player agent coming in. Now Mike Woodson gets announced as the associate head coach, and Barbosa remains on staff. He was a DC guy, and it looks that way. I know that there is a thought to say we need an identity. Do you think the front office might have an identity and then the coaching staff might have another identity? It doesn't feel like they're, aside from DC being the head coach, I don't know how much cohesion there is between that and where we're going, because you still have DeMar DeRozan, obviously, that depending on how that's going to go and what the player personnel changes might come to be. But I can't look at that team right now and make up an identity.
Yeah, it sounds like to me, based on what we've heard, that Scott Perry and Doug Christie are on the same page. Yeah, as far as you take a timeout. Yeah, all right. Yeah, they're on the same page as far as what they're putting together. But at the same time, yeah, the key question is, okay, the players we have now, can we get them to fit that? Because you got to, at some point, this is what we're doing, then get the players to fit that. If you got the players already and trying to get them to fit the system, that's a lot harder to do.
So we'll talk baseball when we come back, because I have two Padre fans surrounding me today.
What?
And, the last time I talked to them about baseball, the Braves went 0-7 to start the season. So we'll talk a little baseball. Aaron Judge coming to Sacramento. We'll talk about all of that when we come back. Jose Gonzalez filling in for Allen Stiles right here on Sacktown Sports 1140.
There are so many benefits of working with the Overhead Door Company of Sacramento. Now, we chose them to get our new garage doors, and we're so thrilled that we did. They look absolutely amazing. Jason Ross here. And for us, well, we just flat out needed new garage doors. But maybe you do as well, or maybe it's just repairs to your existing doors. Well, the Overhead Door Company of Sacramento can help you with that. It is also a great time of year because this is when homes go on the market. So is yours ready? Well, one thing, don't forget about that garage door, because a new garage door can increase the value of your home. First off, with Curb Appeal, a new modern or stylish garage door can improve the overall appearance of your house. Also, the return on investment. It is one of the most cost-effective upgrades to increase your home value. You can see for yourself. Just visit the showroom off Franklin Boulevard and ask about the Sacktown Sports Special. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, the genuine, the original overhead door. Always look for the red ribbon logo.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See full details and displays.
People are coming from all over to Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, from Folsom, Elk Grove, Woodland, Roseville, because they've seen for themselves the huge selection and the best prices at SacSuperstore.com. Good luck finding a lower price anywhere else. And if you do, they'll match it. It's as simple as that. Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, where a handshake still means something. Open until 10 o'clock and centrally located right across from Hagen Oaks Golf Course. And online at SacSuperstore.com. The guaranteed lowest price and the best selection of Dodge, Chrysler, Jeeps, and Rams. SacSuperstore.com.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide.
based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-837-5050. That's 800-837-5050. 800-837-5050.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sacktown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting sacktownsports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Jose Gonzalez joining you today in place of Allen Stiles, who will be right back with you and all of that energy on Monday.
Now, he went to Chicago, right?
Yeah, he's in the Windy City. Have you been to Chicago?
Just the airport. Isn't the new Pope from Chicago?
Yeah, went to Villanova.
Now the Pope, I wonder if Allen is moving into Chicago to take over some sort of duties at the Pope.
Well,
I'm going with that.
Well, he has a mathematics degree from Villanova.
Okay.
So maybe, yeah. Well, I know the Temple in Villanova. Don't get
Allen doesn't
That's
like
right.
Villanova.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see when he comes back on Monday. But with that, and as I said, that looking up, it's his alma mater.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to talk about baseball because Aaron Judge is in town, and obviously Fisher, the famous. Hey, you can come to Sutter Health Park and see guys like Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani. Let's not name any athletics potentially in that mix. But how cool is it for the city of Sacramento to have the New York Yankees be playing here?
Yeah.
And obviously today and tomorrow and through that. So what is it like? Like, obviously, I've only been here a year and change. Like, to me, I always had to go to San Francisco, LA to go watch a major, or Oakland. I loved going to the Coliseum. I always had to go elsewhere. And it's weird for me to know, man, when the Braves come to town in July, I get to just go to Sutter Health Park and go watch the Atlanta Braves take on the Athletics. How big is it for you to know like that's happening in our backyard?
I think it's huge from this standpoint. I remember a couple of years ago, when the Giants come here to play the River Cats, it's a big deal because it's the Giants. It's an exhibition game. I remember early 2000s, they had the baseball weekend, and the Padres actually came in and played a couple games. And Ricky was on the team, and Tony Gwynn. And it was a big deal. It was preseason, obviously, but it was a big deal because a major league team was here. And now we got not just any major league team, the Yankees, and the games matter. We got a major league team here every night. So it's a far cry. And I know a lot of people are not in favor of the way it all came together. And I understand that. And I'm sympathetic to all that. But just put that aside. And the fact of the matter is that the Yankees are in town this weekend. It's incredible.
Look, I'm with you. I understand the frustration and what kind of went into that. For me, I've said it on the show today. I'm choosing to be Mr. Optimist. And being Mr. Optimist means, look, rooting for the Athletics in Sacramento is not saying you don't understand the pain of Oakland losing their team. What you're saying is I'm a Sacramento person that wants Sacramento to win. I'm sorry that it is at the expense of Oakland, but at the same time, people here are proud of their city.
Mm-hmm.
They're proud of what Sacramento can accomplish. Like, think of it 30 years ago, 20-something years ago, when you have Phil Jackson calling it a cow town, right? Like, you go and go, no, we've come a long way in this city. We're in a really different place. You can have both. You can be on both sides of this. Now, isn't it crazy to think that what we speculated of at the beginning of the season to say, is there going to be playoff baseball at Sutter Health Park, or are they going to move it, or are they going to go play that in Oakland, or how is this going to look? Because as we look at the standings in the American League, they're sitting second in the American League West, 20-18.
You have the wild card in front of you? I apologize if you don't.
No,
I know
you're good.
They're hanging right in there.
Yeah, they're the third Right now, they'd be sitting in that third spot at the wild card, half a game in front of the Boston Red Sox, just 2.5 games behind the Royals and the Guardians. So they're playing good baseball. And now it could be a reality of what we all thought of. It could be that the A's are competitive for the 3 years they're in Sacramento.
Could be. Yeah, they're building towards something. Obviously, it's early. You know who they play after they play the Yankees? They go on the road. They play a team called the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yes.
Then they play the Giants, and the Giants playing well. So they got a little rough patch here. That's baseball. Hopefully, when they're through this stretch, we can still look at the standings and go, hey, they're hanging tough, but it's going to be a challenging stretch.
Yeah, this month is not a friend to them. They play the Phillies as well here at Sutter. They play the Blue Jays. They got the Angels in there. Could be a mixture of good for them.
Yeah.
Before we run out of time here, NL West, I've said this multiple times throughout the show today. Everybody listening is finding out I'm a baseball guy. NL West has been awesome to watch. Do you think this has been the first, like for me, it's the first time in a few years that I go, I'm actually entertained with baseball in May. Like sometimes I'm like, okay, I'll watch it for the first 3 weeks. And then I'm like, okay, I'll tune back in July. I'll come back in late July. This time I'm like, no, I'm in this. It's exciting.
I know what you mean. I love baseball, but typically it takes me a little while to warm up, especially coming off basketball. Basketball is such a faster paced sport. But this year I find myself, glued to every pitch, no matter who's playing. Maybe baseball's back, or maybe you and I are woefully out of touch.
Yeah, maybe that could be a thing
woefully.
Too. The Drive Guys coming up next. They will take you all the way to 6
Mike
o'clock.
Bibby today at 3 o'clock.
Ooh, Sac State men's basketball head coach.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be exciting stuff right there. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you keep it right here. Kevin Gleason, Kyle Draper, two of the absolute best. Will take you all the way to 6 o'clock. I appreciate Kyle. Thank you for leading the charge here today. Thank you to Kevin. Thank you to Brendan. Thank you to Chris for joining us on the show, as well as Casey Pratt. Appreciate all of you. Jose Gonzalez filling in for Allen Stiles right here on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Don't forget my podcast. Gotta go.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager